Top of the morning, traders, and happy Tuesday, May 19th, and welcome to the most value-packed live trading show, where we live trade, break down charts, cover high-impact events, and talk trader mindset. Hope everyone had a great day yesterday and is ready to kick off another opportunity-filled day. We are seeing the markets, especially SPY, looking to open up in prior day's range. So the question becomes, can we start to expand outside of that range? If we can get some momentum to the upside. But keep in mind, guys, we are inside on the weekly as well. That simply means we're still trading within last week's range, and we're looking to gap down to open things up. And we're officially open, guys. So folks on YouTube, do me a favor, smash the like button as you're coming in. 100 likes before 10:30. We will do the giveaway. All right, so do me a favor, let's do that. If you're looking to join us for pre-market prep and access all of our tools and resources and be part of our community, our SPY Strikers community, the link is pinned up top. All right, use the code TRIAL30. You'll have access to it for 1 month. And of course, after that, you'll be billed $69 a month, which is an absolute steal. So let this thing open up like it is now. We'll look to take advantage of the best opportunity. What happened yesterday stays yesterday. What happens today stays in today. Follow your rules, review your rules, know what you're looking to trade, guys. We do have new home sales at 10 o'clock, so keep that in mind. And let this thing do what it needs to do. Let me mark out BOGTOG. The key level indicator will also be coming out soon as well, guys. All right, I'm putting the last few touches on it. I added the ATR, added a nice little dashboard. A lot of cool things coming out. Okay. So now a lot of this stuff is automated. A lot of this stuff is automated. So you can just be focused on your decision making. That's the primary thing, all right? I want to automate the things so you can focus on the decision making, on the account management, on the take profit, on the risk management, on the account allocation, all those things between the ears. If the technicals are automated and you have a fundamental understanding of the technicals, right, you'll be in good shape. G50. I just have to find a way to get the way I like to draw the gaps automated as well. So we have that PML right here. So all of our key levels are there. Down goes the down. Oh. Down goes the down. Down goes IW. IW relative to the rest of the indexes, guys, has the most amount of weakness. IW is directional on the weekly. IW is directional on the weekly. We are seeing service now taking a nosedive, coming to that bounce zone. We're seeing Tesla sliding to the downside. NVIDIA showing some sign of strength. Apple's starting to get a nice little bit above PMH. So Apple is a candidate. Apple on the hourly time frame, on the 15-minute time frame, is at a major bounce zone. So I'll keep a close eye on that going to Shockwave. So Apple has some momentum above that PMH. We're starting to see Amazon slide at the downside. Amazon is testing that weekly downside breaker. Okay, MU is starting to catch a bid off that PML. See if it continues to push higher. Qs are starting to catch a bid as well. So let's see if that takes place. Nice dump on service now to the downside. NVIDIA, not touchable for me this week, right? When there's earnings, I don't like to trade those individual names. And when there's earnings, I don't like to trade those individual names. All right, so far you can see on the daily range, we're inside. On the weekly range, we're inside. Okay, so all those areas, that tells us, this dashboard automatically tells us where we are. Look at NVIDIA, guys. NVIDIA's headed towards PMH. Apple's on a run. Apple does look good, guys. The reason is because Apple on the bigger picture time frame, on the intraday higher time frame, right, it's coming out of a bounce zone. So it can have enough fuel to start to push into that 300 psychological level. All right, so now I want to see if it has more room in it. The Dow fell below the weekly downside breaker. So now out of the four, guys, the Qs are inside on the weekly. The Dow is directional to the downside on the weekly. IWM is directional to the downside on the weekly, and SPY is still inside on the weekly. So daily open 734.75. Our weekly open is all the way up here. All the way up here. All the way up there. So make sure to like the video, guys, as you're coming in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Poll question for today. Very straightforward poll question. How many trades do you take per day? Good morning, Fishman. Good morning, good morning. God bless. Amen. As always, good morning, Vanuz. Good morning with Zed. Good morning, Studio Z1. Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. So Apple might be a candidate for us here. Anyone have any trades from overnight? Babysitting overnight positions. Gap, thank you for the update, Elion. So Amazon falling off a cliff. MU continues to push to the upside. MU is looking to take out that PMH. Amazon falling. We have a lot of retail numbers coming out this week. We have Walmart reporting earnings. We have Home Depot that reported this morning. We have Lowe's reporting as well at some point this week. We have Target reporting as well, right? So a proxy for those names, if the retail numbers are weak, can be Amazon, right? Of course, Amazon has a multifaceted business, right? But Amazon, the retail side of Amazon is a big chunk of it as well. So from a sentiment standpoint, so we'll keep a close eye on Amazon. Meta is back above that daily open, weekly open. So Meta is back above that weekly open. So early candidate for me is Apple. Early candidate is Apple. Let's see what else is trying to move. MU, Microsoft. Palantir has not been in the rotation for a while. Palantir's hourly chart doesn't look as clean. Look at SPY, guys. That's why it's so important to come in that daily pre-market prep stream, guys, because this is something that we were discussing, right? So you're made aware of the potential of this kind of action taking place, all right? So it's going to be chop until proven otherwise. So it's going to be chop until proven otherwise. I want to see how we interact, how we play with this PML. 1 trade per day. Good call, Michael. Good, especially on this week. IW continues to sell off. The Dow continues to sell off. Retrace, reject up. That's 493.80. The only thing holding us up currently, guys, the only thing holding us up currently is the Qs. If the Qs start to fall and the Dow continues to sell off, down goes SPY. Okay, down goes SPY. The Qs are just holding us up. Apple, bounce zone on Apple between that. If you're a bounce trader, 296.74, 297.74, nice dollar range. Okay. If you're a waiver, keep a close eye on Apple for a nice shockwave break. Apple is headed towards 300. Look at this manipulation, guys. Look what they do. Trap. PML. Someone goes short of PML. Trap. Right. This is the kind of action. Okay. There are stubborn bars at the very lows. So it's very important today, right? If you're looking to buy lows into lower lows, NVIDIA's trying to climb here. Lows into lower lows. Very important that you at least get a relief pop, a retrace, reject. All right. Just situational awareness, chart awareness will be key going into today. Apple, early candidate there on Apple. NVIDIA continues to push. To give you some context, NVIDIA does report earnings tomorrow, guys. NVIDIA's contracts are 85% IV. All right, so those contracts that expire on the 22nd on NVIDIA are trading at $7 per con at the money. Okay. Okay, let's see the Dow. The Qs are what's lifting us up. The Qs are headed towards that 704.47 and that PMH, right? There's an area of contention up there. This push will be legit if the Qs can get above PMH decisively. If it starts to fade when it gets here, then we know what that means. IW trying to make a resurgence. Look at this. Almost a volume imbalance. We're in the jaws of that gap down, guys. We're in the jaws of that gap down. We're seeing some buyers coming in aggressively after squeezing those shorts off that PML. Look at that trap. Vicious. All right, so now we're in the jaws of that gap. Jaws of that gap down from this morning. Okay, Shopify coming into play here. Broadcom starting to go. Intel continues to push. See if Intel can hold above that PMH. Has Intel's IV ever come back normal? Intel's IV just refuses to come down, guys. I mean, I don't understand this. Intel's IV just stuck at 100%, over 100%. I had IWMQQ puts overnight, George. Closed. Beautiful job, Fishman. Absolutely crushing it. No, not trading NVIDIA. NVIDIA has earnings, so those contracts are going to be a little bit pricey. Keep that in mind. IV, right? But if you want to trade NVIDIA, that's completely up to you. But all I can do is bring that to your attention. Right? When a company reports earnings, those contracts, right, they get priced at a higher rate because those contracts are trying to price in a potential move in either direction. All right? They're trying to price in a potential move in either direction. Palantir not doing much. Even Walmart, one of our go-to names, Walmart is not even tradable this week. Okay, because of the IV. So my rule is if there's a particular company reporting earnings that week, right? Unless I have a specific strategy to take advantage of the earnings, I'll just let it be. Okay. So we're in the jaws of the gap down. So this is the area where we gap down from. To give you some context, that daily downside breaker is 737.40. 737.40, daily downside breaker right there. So previous day lows right there. No, actually that's like the 50% retrace. 50% retrace. Usually I make my daily downside breakers dashed. I make the 50% retrace dashed. That's why I got confused. Okay, that should be dashed. There we go. So 50% retrace of the daily candle is right there. So are we still inside previous day's range? Yes. As long as we stay above 733.39 and as long as we stay below 741.40, we're inside previous day's range. Okay. Apple, I'll get contracts loaded on Apple. Apple, looking at the 300s. Okay. If you're looking for that bounce on Apple, continue to wait. Amazon. See if Amazon comes into play as well. AMZN. Amazon falling off a cliff nicely. Make sure to like the video, guys, on YouTube. Make sure to like the video. Amazon is directional with the downside on the weekly, so it's below that weekly downside breaker. That's good. So I like that. Amazon looking at the 257.50s puts. I'm looking at the Amazon puts and Apple calls. Okay, look at SPY, guys. Any kind of break, look what they're doing. You take the break above there, trap. They're playing a vicious game. Okay, Qs are starting to fade. Nice VWAP projection on IWM. So we're back at that PML once again. So despite the weakness we're seeing on SPY here, right, on that last little stretch, Apple continues to pump. Okay. Apple continues to pump. 3 minutes away from Shockwave. Ideally, when it is Shockwave, I wanted to see if I can at least get a nice little bounce into the break rather than just shorting it as it's right there. Okay, nice 15-minute candle there. Trying to go engulfing. Buyers are very stubborn. Buyers are very stubborn here. So yesterday, okay, that put trigger yesterday on Shockwave was very similar. Was at basically the same exact level at the as the Dale downside breaker. Those two levels were basically one. Microsoft puts. I haven't traded Microsoft in a little bit of time. Question becomes now: can we stay below pre-market low? Can we stay below it? The Qs are starting to pull back, testing that PMA, testing that VWAP. Everything is sliding. The Dow is sliding. IWM is sliding. The Qs were the only one that had strength. If the Qs start to join that slide party to the downside, everything can start to push the downside. For Shockwave on the indexes, keep a close eye on IW. Okay, IW for the puts. Does have some pretty significant weakness. I'm looking at the 271s. Okay, IW has been good to us. Okay, past few weeks and this week, last week and this week. Okay. So Apple, keeping a close eye on Apple. Shockwave hours upon us for the calls. Meta, if it holds that PML to the downside, there can be. The only issue with Meta is it's inside. All right, so let's see if we can hold that PML. There can be opportunity for the puts. I like Amazon for the puts if it continues to slide. So Amazon puts possibly brewing. IWM puts possibly brewing. Apple calls possibly brewing, and of course SPY, whatever SPY gives us. All right, so those are some prospects. The downside, some prospects. So very similar, very reminiscent to yesterday. Very reminiscent. Okay, very reminiscent to yesterday. Apple's coming to that weekly open. Apple's looking like it wants to expand. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on Apple here. SPY as well. I want a retest on SPY. So I'm not taking the break. I want that retest on SPY. Shockwave is officially here. Apple 336. That coincides beautifully, guys. That coincides beautifully with that weekly open as well. All right, so that reclaim would be critical there. IWM below 271.71. Amazon. See, Amazon can start to break down for the puts. Keep a close eye on Amazon for puts. More than likely, you need that breakdown on SPY. Below that daily downside breaker here. That coincides with that. That coincides with the Shockwave put trigger. IWM. See if IWM can trigger. See if IWM can trigger. Apple, 336. $336. Apple, keeping a close eye. I want to see that decisive reclaim of that daily, weekly open. That weekly open reclaim would be critical. Take this off. All right, so you got to trigger me in. Got to trigger me in. There goes Amazon to the downside for the puts. If you took Amazon, manage accordingly. Let me visit Amazon here. What would help Amazon to the downside, guys, is if SPY continues to slide. SPY continues to slide, that would really help Amazon. All right. If SPY bounced off that daily downside breaker, traps there, Amazon can start to bounce. You want to see that clear break below 733.39. Look at Amazon for the puts. Apple alert set. Down goes Tesla as well for the puts. See if SPY can get that nice little break here. Got the break. Okay, no signal yet. IW starting to go. I want that retrace reject. Amazon, give me a retest. For the puts, give me a retest for that entry. IWM, down goes IW. Down goes IW. Down goes IW. Watch out for that trap initially. Watch out for that trap. Tesla, scale out if you took the puts. Look at this trap, right? So we get the break, BRK, we get the break, but no official signal. You see that trap? All right, they're looking to set that up. This is exactly why, all right, it's very important to understand have market awareness, situational awareness, and experience kicks in. Even if you take Shockwave, there's no break, there's no signal there. Now, if SPY starts to fade here at that daily open, okay, I like Amazon to the downside. If it runs out of steam, if it wants to go all the way around full circle, okay, I'll take Amazon right there. I'm in the Amazon puts. My risk is all the way up here. Okay, so ideally I would like SPY to start to slow down here. So I'm in the Amazon puts here. So you get that rejection off that 9. That 5 is trying to go flag, they're trying to go hammer. So I will respect that. But I want SPY to start to get stifled right here. If you can do that, that'd be great. All right, so very, very important. Amazon's starting to get picked up here. Down 10. Stop is 260.20. See if that 9 can hold up. Now if SPY gets back below that PML, there can be something there. That was a nasty trap on SPY, guys. Nasty trap. Amazon getting close to getting stopped out here on Amazon. Getting close. We close above there, I'll get stopped out. Look at that trap, guys. They're dragging the buyers all the way back to the other side. Other side of the planet. The sellers here. Right? So if you have a Shockwave, nothing there. Amazon currently down 4 or 5%. See if we can get a break back below that level. If we can, that'd be great. Apple is brewing. Apple is brewing. Okay, keep a close eye on the Apple calls. I want a nice little entry on Apple as well. Okay. Apple gave the break. No signal yet. If SPY gets below PML, that'd be great. You see how we got stifled at that daily open? If you took Apple, manage accordingly. If you're at the ripple on Apple, manage accordingly. You can use that weekly open if you're waiting for Shockwave. Okay. Continue to wait. I'll continue to wait here. I want to see a nice entry model present itself. Okay, see if Amazon can come back into play. Amazon is close to break even here. Okay, nothing here on Apple. Show you Amazon. We're currently on our Amazon. So took the puts here, first trade. The SPY can start to slide. That'd be great. Didn't have the best entry, right? The reclaim entry back to downside is great. And there is a feature where it's going to show you the break, but not the exact put. So if you take the ripples via Shockwave, it will show you where it breaks. It shows you where it retests automatically. See if I can target the lows of the day. If SPY continues to hold below that daily open, right? Very tricky conditions. Watch out for Meta to the upside. Meta back to the upside. My stop on Amazon is all the way up here. Okay, stop on Amazon's all the way up there. The reason why I like Amazon to the downside is because guess what? We're directional to the downside on the weekly. Only issue is maybe I bought it right too close to the low. Too close to the low. My room for error is right there. Room for error is right there. So there goes Meta to the upside. Service now starting to go, guys. Service now starting to go. Ideally, Amazon don't give me that break. If I get that break until you push higher, then I'll get stopped out on Amazon. SPY's trying to get above that daily open hold. Okay, Amazon. Probably about a 20-25% stop on Amazon. My stop is a close. Close above that, I'll automatically say stop out. Amazon went doji to the upside. Scale out on Meta. SPY still congested. SPY still congested. Okay, if we close above that level, I'll get stopped out. Okay, I'm gonna get stopped out right there. Okay, stopped out right there on Amazon. Okay, stop that right there. Amazon, about 22%. Stop out. Okay, couldn't get that move to the downside. If it comes back into play, that can be something. Stop that right there. Okay, so everything is very, very tight, guys. Very, very vicious. Very, very tight. So keep that in mind, guys. All right, if you get stopped out, respect the stops. Did get back to break-even territory. Still like the setup. All right, they're trapping left and right. They're trapping left and right. All right, so make sure to respect your stops. Make sure to respect your stops. See if service now can get back above that 110, 110.14. Service now's contracts are a little elevated, so keep that in mind. Look how vicious SPY is, guys. Look how vicious SPY is. All right, that might. So Shockwave didn't give you that entry down there on SPY. There is a feature where you can say print the show me where it breaks, right? But that's not the same as an entry signal. Meta starting to push. Nasty trap on Tesla. See if the Qs can course correct here. The down's starting to wake up, so everything's starting to wake up off those lows. See if we get a nice little shockwave back the upside. Looking at the 736s. On SPY. Okay, and we got that nice break. Give me that retest. We have room into that 50% retrace. That lines up beautifully with that TP1. So what I want to see is I don't want to see trap like this. Okay, see if it can be synchronized. All the indexes push the upside. Meta starting to go. Meta, scale out on Meta. Give me that retest. Give me that retest on SPY. Amazon, I like that cut on Amazon. All right, you can see got the break, no entry. So let's see if that call signal can print and stay there. If it can stay there, all right, I'll be there for it. IW is starting to go as well. IW is testing that VWAP. So VWAP traders, keep a close eye on IW at VWAP. As you're coming in, guys, make sure to smash the like button. First trade of the day, stopped out on Amazon for the puts. Just be mindful of the traps, guys. Very, very vicious. All right, they're playing a vicious game today. And you don't know which one's going to go. You don't know if it's going to trap. You don't know if it's going to continue to push. So this is where the art side of trading comes into play. If we come back into this box, retest it, I'll shoot my shot. I'll shoot my shot to the upside on SPY. Come back and retest it though. Okay. Qs are starting to fade a little bit. IW getting rejected off VWAP. 45%, beautiful job. ATH, watch tomorrow. Possible if we can get gap up. Anything can happen in these markets. Okay, so now we're back below it. See if we can reclaim it. Okay, see if we can get back above it. Get back above it. Okay, then it will be maybe no trap. If you did take this, if your stop is right there. So you get a nice little push. And the risk reward also dynamically moves with the position. So I'm looking at the 736s on SPY. We get that reclaim. We'll be there. Okay, I'm going to take SPY right there. I'm in the SPY calls. The risk right here. Biggest danger, of course, trap. So I want that 5-minute candle to start to recover. I don't want it to close the way it is, right? I don't want it to close the way it is. So see if we get a nice little close about that 730, 735.66. That'd be great. Continue to push. Okay, I'm in the SPY calls here. First trade on SPY, second trade of the day. Okay, get that continued push, at least into the highs of the day. We're fighting for this 5-minute candle here. I don't like how the Qs are starting to fade. If the Qs can hold 702.18, that'd be good. Okay, let's see if SPY can start to go here. I'll have that reclaim set up. My stop is right here. So I need SPY to continue to push. Go, go, go. Into the highs of the day, 736.30. 10 o'clock, we do have new pending home sales. Okay, so keep that in mind. We have home sales data coming up in less than a minute. Less than a minute. Very close again, stopped. Down 10. I want that TOG to hold. I want it to hold right here. Hold or fold. Okay, so you can get that nice little compression break and go. Okay, see if we can go here. That 5-minute candle is trying to shape up as a doji. I want to see that break here. If we get that break there, we'll be good to go. Push into highs of the day. Go, go, go. If you need to close out before home sales, you can do so. All right. That is orange folded catalyst. We can't get a reaction off of it. Okay. See if I can get that nice. If I get a break below that level, close below that level, I'll close it out. So home sales data is coming in. And this can either take it to the upside or to the downside. Upside or downside can be whipsaw. Still in the position. Down 8, down 9. And home sales data is here. Okay, I'll close it right there. So stopped out. I get on SPY. Tried to take it to the upside, stopped out. Okay, stopped out there on SPY, stopped out there on I'm learning, please. Help. What do you need help with, D-tab? What do you need help with, D-tab? Tesla puts to the downside. Tesla falling off a cliff. I gave it a little room to go, right? But just couldn't get that continued push. So they're playing trap on both sides type of game. Okay, so 2 trades, 2 stop outs. Apple, no break there. Tesla's the one that's going. Meta's going to the upside. Tesla to the downside. How are we doing so far, strikers? How are we doing so far? Apple 20%. Beautiful job. Netflix and FLX. Netflix can continue to push. Netflix, nice break of that PMH. How are we doing so far? If you're getting stopped out, okay, make sure to follow your stops, guys. Okay. Nvidia's starting to cook to the downside. See if there's something there on Nvidia. Tesla falling off a cliff. Tesla had that major level on the hourly. It couldn't hold it. Now it's starting to slide. SPY, guys. SPY is whipsaw. SPY is whipsaw here. Tesla's at TP1. Headed towards TP2. Nice structural break on Tesla. So the 2 names that are going, guys, is Meta and Tesla. Meta. Right, Meta, of course, nice break. Continues to push. If the Meta can come back into play, I'll set my alert. Okay, Tesla can come back into play. I'll set my alert. Anyone catch Tesla or Meta? Those are the 2 names that are going nicely. And when they start to move, they start to move. When they start to move, they start to move. What else is cooking here? Okay, my friend Amazon might come back into play. My friend Amazon might come back into play. I don't mind double dipping on Amazon. Right, I like that stop on SPY, right? Gave it a little bit of time, sat through new home sales. It can go either way. Comes into there, gets stopped out. So as you're coming into that breakdown, once again, guys, just be aware that there's aggressive participants on the edges. All right, so if you do get stopped out, if you do decide to take a shot in that area, just be mindful that you have to be very diligent in your stops. Okay, IW starting to go as well. IWM for the puts. Okay, for the puts, IWM right there. Keep a close eye. IW, get that retest. Tesla hit TP2. IW, that was a nice drop on IW. Amazon, might double dip on Amazon if it can come back into play. I have my alert set. I have my alert set on IW as well. Biggest danger here on Amazon is a possible inverse head and shoulder. That move on Tesla is so clean. Anyone in Tesla? Still holding Amazon? How much drawdown you sat through Devil Dog? Was home sales good? Home sales in this case is an orange folder, right? I still respect orange folders, right? Home sales, previous reading 1.7, forecast 0.1, actual 1.4. Forecast is like the hedge, right? We came in, we sold less homes. There's less homes pending for sale than there were on the previous reading. This is the first time we went in, okay. Meta and Tesla continue to push. So if they continue to have strength, if you're looking for Netflix, 91.48. 91.48. So this is a scalpers domain, guys. Scalpers time, right? So what we talked about in the pre-market is basically coming to fruition. Same kind of action as yesterday, right? We have possible lower highs and higher lows. Meta looks like it wants to come back for that retest. IWM. If we could break back below that level on IW, count me in for the puts. How to get an alert on IW? Come on. IW is going already. If you took IW, manage accordingly. That was nice. And taking it to the lows of the day. Initially gave you that signal there. I want to get that reclaim back to downside. Qs. Keep a close eye on the Qs for the puts. IW starting to slide as well. SPY is just stubborn. Okay, see profit, take profit type of day, guys. See profit, take profit type of day. And of course, again, you always have the option not to trade these conditions. IW, come back right here. I need that exact entry. I have the contracts locked and loaded. Come back to that 271, 271.71, 270, yeah, 271.71. Okay, Qs are starting to break down as well. As SPY breaks down, Amazon, I'll be there for you. Double dip. What would really make Amazon go is if it's a nice, clean breakdown. Nice, big breakdown on SPY. Amazon can be the proxy. Meta coming back for that retest. IW, if you have those puts on IW, manage accordingly. Look at all this traffic in this area, team. Look at all this traffic in this area. Okay, SPY breaking that put trigger. See if you can hold. There we go. Okay, see if Amazon can get that full break. If you're waiting for a retrace reject, continue to wait, see if that signal can last. IWM had a nice drop to the downside. Waiting for Amazon. New 5-minute candle coming in a minute and 40 seconds. So far, 2 trades, 2 stop outs. Stop out on SPY, stop out on Amazon. There's a nice opportunity on IW if you caught that. Good. Right, it's grabbing the lows, grabbing the highs until pro otherwise. So what's going to really be telling, guys, the Qs are directional to the downside on the daily. The Qs are directional to the downside on the daily. The Qs are being sold off. Okay, so if the Dow starts to fade, we can start to tumble here. So SPY, give me a retest of this area. It looks like the alerts are coming in prematurely, and I'm looking at Amazon here. If we continue to slide, Amazon will be my horse. If we continue to slide, Amazon will be the horse. Okay, we're starting to see a nice little spike on the VIX, back above 18. Amazon already broke down. See if Amazon continues to slide. If you squeeze a little bit out of that break, okay, TP is the best protocol, guys. SPY still now direction on the daily. If SPY can get above it and get back below it, count me in. All right, very similar to here, but I got stopped out there. Qs continue to slide. Lily goes. Okay, Lily, nice reclaim on Lily. Breaker on Lily. If this turns to a grab on SPY, if SPY wants to manipulate and grab these lows, right, keep a close eye on Meta back the upside. How are the Meta contracts looking? Meta 615s. It's a little spready here on Meta. Okay, I'm looking at Meta. Okay, contracts are a little spready, but if SPY wants to grab that, Meta could be a candidate to push the upside. See, Meta can start to pull in just a little bit. Okay, nice reclaim back to downside on SPY. Amazon starting to go. It's going to come down to what Amazon does here. What SPY does here. As SPY continues to break the downside, Amazon for the puts. As SPY reclaims this and wants to trap it, potential Meta calls. Amazon is going prematurely. So a lot of scalps today, guys. Amazon still goes. So kudos to one of our traders, held through it. TP1, beautiful job. TP 50%, stopped up 25%, beautiful, beautiful. CRWV, good, good, good. Good catch. You stayed in Amazon, right? You were compensated there. If your risk was a little wider, is at the lows of the day. It's going to be predicated on what SPY does here. It's going to be based on what SPY does here. Amazon is gone. Okay, see if Meta can hold above that level. 610.13 or 610.11. Inside on the 5 on Meta. 15 is still inside. If this starts to break down, okay, I gotta take that on SPY. 733s. Okay. If that starts to break down back below it, I like that. The downside for the puts. See if I can get filled there. Okay. Okay, I'm in the puts here on SPY. Am I going to get trapped once again? Risk is right there. Same thing as before. Risk is on closure. Okay, I'm in the SPY puts here. Second trade on SPY. Into the lows of the day. If you took that, manage accordingly. Up 13, 17. I'm going to take a majority off right there. Okay, you got to scalp this, guys. Okay, down to runners. Okay, nice scalp right there, 17. And then now see if we can stay below the lows of the day. So see if the runners can break below that. Right? It just the profits will flash very quickly and just disappear. All right, so now runners, if the runners want to make lower lows, continue to push lower into TP1, count me in. Okay, but I got to secure that double digit with majority and scalp that. So finally, if you took that, manage accordingly. That was too clean to turn down. Okay, the 5 is looking good. Okay, now see if you get that continue to push to the downside. Okay, scale out if you need to. That's 16, 17%. We're at the lows of the day. What's our friend the Q's doing? Q's are coming at that weekly downside breaker. So this can easily go double bottom. You might be aware of that. Again, friend to friend. I would TP there if I was you a little bit. Okay, take some profit at 17%. Okay, I already did. Now I'm just seeing if the runners want to go into the lows of last week. Okay, what's my trailing stop? Right here. I'll give it a quick small break even buffer. The Qs just trigger that weekly downside breaker. The Qs are directional to the downside on the weekly. Who took that? If you took that, dollar signs in the chat, guys. Up 18. Apple back at that PMH. See if we can get that nice continued separation away from there. Because any minute, buyers can just, the stubborn buyers can just come up and buy it off those lows. So again, TP if you need to, guys. If you're holding runners, know where your trailing stop is, where your NC is. We have a lot of stubborn buyers. Because now buyers have a chance to buy it at the lows of the day. Do they deem that valuable? If they do, they're going to drive it back up to this area. All right, so I'm trying to pursue that TP1 here. I like how the Qs are falling. Qs are selling off, guys. Qs are below that weekly downside breaker. The only thing holding us up right now is the Dow. The fact that the Dow has strength, that's holding us up because the Dow is going the opposite way. If the Dow starts to fade while the Qs are still weak, stay below the weekly downside breaker, SPY gets the weekly downside breaker, TP1. If the Dow continues to push and lifts up the Qs, SPY gets back to that 733.39. So I'll let that dynamic play out here. Okay. Who took that? Finally, guys. Okay, TP1 is right there. Amazon, good night. So if you took Amazon, if you took IWM, if you took SPY here, right? Again, the importance of getting stopped out. I got stopped out there. If I don't respect my stop, this thing drags me all the way to the floor. Respect your stops, guys. Respect your stops. Up 20. Headed towards TP1. Look at this. All right. Stubborn buyers. Stubborn buyers. Stay below this inefficiency, at least. I would say the lowest trail will be here. So no close above that inefficiency. Okay, the Qs are dumping, guys. The Qs are dumping. The Qs are directional. We just need the Dow to start to head towards that weekly open. Okay, the Dow is starting to fold as well. So now we can start to slide here. Up 26. TP1 hit. TP1 hit. Okay, I'm going to take some more off right there at 24. At TP1. Okay, last little bit. Don't get back above that area. TP1 already hit, guys. So despite this action, you still can find some good setups. All right, buyers are trying to step in off that TP. So unless we get a hammer on the 5, that they're trying on the 5, guys. They're trying on the 5. Look at that wick on the Qs. Okay, I'll close out right there. Last bit of runners. All right, so all out on SPY here. And now it's going to dump. Okay, so TP1, scale out TP1, and then finally close out there. Okay, who took that? Amazon 35% on small account. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful small cash account. Got a piece of SPY. 68%. Beautiful job. Riding it forever. Done for the day. Beautiful job. Switching to paper. Great job, John. Good, good, good. So again, this one took some time. It was too good to turn down. One thing is the setup to the downside, of course, I was there for it. But the one thing I want to bring to your attention is if I don't cut the trade here, if I don't cut my calls here when it says stop, okay, I would be in here. It would drag me all the way here. So every time I'll argue that this stop, managing this trade and following the stop was more impressive than this trade itself. Because if the right decision's not made there, when your position is not working in your favor, you're not going to be there for this opportunity because you're going to be too fixated on one side working out. Okay, so that's very, very important. So on that note, we'll ride into second shift. So that's our third trade. Okay, first two trades stopped out. I do like both those trades. All right. Amazon. Was looking at double dip on Amazon. And I would not, if you took Amazon on a double dip, or if you held it a little longer, or if your risk was a little wider, say if your risk was all the way at that conservative weekly downside breaker, you're good to go. Okay, boom, TP1 hit. So make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. In the next 9 minutes, we can get 100 likes. That'd be great. We'll do a giveaway. And you don't take the SPY puts there. If you did, congratulations. Who's still holding? Do I have any diamond hands in the chat? Do we have any diamond hands? One runner. Okay, milk it. You have until weekly downside breaker. So the dynamics are going to be the Qs are weak. The Qs are weak. The Dow's weak, so this thing is more than likely to break below 731.83, and we're going to be directional. We're going to be directional on the weekly now. Finally. Okay, so finally, the sellers are able to impact the weekly. That was a good trade right there. Good setup. So Shockwave, okay. Now the last bit of improvement was you see how this risk reward box, guys, it moves with you. It moves dynamically with price. Before it was fixed, and you have the option to show to let us show you the breaks and the retests. So you see how it says BRK, 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 BRK. Those are just signs that it's breaking. Or you can take that off if you'd like, but those are just signs. Okay. So second shift is going to be critical because it's going to be very telling from the standpoint of it's going to let us know. It's going to give us a lot of insight as far as do we want to grab lows, okay, and head back to the equilibrium, head back into some kind of mean reversion type of trade, or do we want to continue to expand? So Shockwave gave you 3 trades. This is, you can jumble this one up into 2, but it gave you 2 signals here. Right, so one there stopped out minus 1R. Here works out for 2R. TP1 hit. Okay. So you have to trade it to a T. You have to trade it to a T. Book 10%. Good, good, good. So many ads distractions. Again, if you don't want the ads, guys, you have to level up and join us on in the Discord. Ad for delay free stream is available. Couple of scalps on SPY puts. Good, good, good. 20%, 20%. All right, so we are live in Google Meets with our private members, our SPY strikers. All right, delay free ad free stream is available there. Okay, so or we're gonna have to start taking some. If there's ads, we're gonna have to start taking some TV timeouts. Okay, stream timeouts. Who caught the game last night? What a game! I caught the game last night between OKC and San Antonio. What a game! What a game! We might be seeing, if this player does not get injuries, guys, we might be seeing the greatest player of all time. I know it's a stretch. Okay. I know it's a stretch, but we might be seeing one of the greatest to ever do it. As long as there's a possibility. As long as there's no injuries, he can stay healthy. But what a performance. Man, I think that he's like 18 or 19 or 20 years old. Close TP. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. TP to Amazon. Beautiful job, guys. Spy runner 55%. Good, good, good. On a week like this, it's good to size down. So size down and let those runners run. 55%. Hope all is well, Carla. Long time no see. Beautiful job, Carla. That was a beautiful game, right? Not a lot of games are as entertaining, but that was a really good game. Easily the greatest. He has a chance. It's still early, right? It's still early, but he has the potential to be the greatest of all time. All right, because he's everything in one. He's everything in one. He's like Kareem mixed with Steph, mixed with Giannis. And he has the ability to pass as well. Now he just has to, when he continues to grow, he'll get stronger, he'll get better. But what a ceiling. Amazon puts 100%. Beautiful job, Joe Jackson. Apple dropping so far. Good job, guys, on Amazon. That's sponsored by Shockwave. All right. Even if you got stopped out there, if you double dipped, all right, you make back what you lost and some. If you didn't like that entry, and I've been saying this last week, if you're just tuning in on YouTube, what we're seeing the past few weeks is, right, what they're really, and the thing is with those breaks, sometimes those breaks, right, they go, and what they try to do is they try to persuade us to chase the break. So what happens is you see a break that works out. Say the break is not your model. Okay, so the next time it comes in, it wants to condition you to take the break. But what I'm seeing is rather than the retest like this, which is the textbook retest, right, something similar to that, what we're seeing is we're seeing something very unique. Okay? We're seeing something along the lines of a retest or a retrace into it and a reclaim back to downside. Almost like a retrace, reclaim type of entry model, right? Because if you're taking the retest, there's a couple of ways to enter the retest. One is on the open, meaning the open the candle is still live. You have your risk defined. Okay, your risk is defined. All right, we're going to say our risk is defined. All right, as this, we're going to zoom into this sequence right here. All right, so you have an idea. Right there, as price is coming into that level, the candle is still open, still doing this. You take it right there. Right? What's the biggest danger? The candle can continue to push. Sure, the risk is defined. The other is let it close and give you signs of weakness and get that candle combination back to downside. The thing with this one is sometimes, all right, you might not get the best entry, but it's okay because if you're gonna have maximum confirmation, right, you have to pay in some way, shape, or form, right? Maximum confirmation equals not the best entry. Minimum confirmation, assuming it works, equals possibly the best entry. All right, so that's when the art of the entry. So what I'm starting to see now is this type of entry. The comes back into the level, it reclaims it, then pushes it back to the downside. Very similar to this. So in this case, when I got stopped out here, stopped out right there, my risk was conservative. In the event that you had a wider risk, okay, you're still in. Mine's conservative. Okay. In the event that we have a wider risk, okay, SPY, bouncing off that weakened outside breaker. In the event that you have a wider risk, you can sit through that. But you can see here, right, I want to illustrate this to you. What I was looking to take, if you go back and watch, okay, is I just took it on the approach. Approach into it. Okay. I took it on the approach into it, and I liked it. I like that entry. My risk is defined. But what's happening is you can see it reclaims it, and then it starts to break. And from time to time, the way the entry models present themselves, right? The way the best entry model to be in a move to the downside or to the upside can vary. Okay, because the market is not going to do the exact same thing every single time. Right? Every moment in the market is unique. Right? If you guys read the Mark Douglas book, right? So every moment in the market is unique. So in this case, let us spend some time above it. Let the selling pressure get heavy on that level, and it starts to break. All right. So I was looking at double dip here, but I kind of went on a side quest. Sometimes I get distracted from time to time, so I have to do a better job at approaching it from that standpoint. But that was a nice breakdown. So that was a nice breakdown. Good. So we're officially in second shift here. So first shift took 3 trades, stopped out on 2, stopped out on Amazon, stopped out on SPY. I would still argue that this is the best trade of the day. Best trade of the day is this one right here. This stop out is better than this trade. Because let's say if we didn't obey the stop out, or if I didn't obey the stop out, I'll use myself as an example. All right, if I didn't say, okay, I'm going to get stopped out there, this can easily be down 70%. 70-80% easily. And then now, what you're probably going to start to do is you're going to try to average in. You start to do all these elaborate things, right? Start to get fancy when you're in big drawdown. So so your ability to cut the trade, right, helps in multiple ways. Now you can look for something else, because if I'm married to these calls here, right, it's very difficult for me to look for something other than the puts. I mean, other than the calls here, because I'm already in this position to the upside for the calls. Right? Unless it's a multi-layered strategy, which was not, this is going to really persuade you to only look for the upside. So you're going to try to get this upside push here to average down your cost. Now you're down more. You're going to try to get this upside push here to average down your cost. Now you're down more. You're down more with more size. All right. So the way you cut your trade when you're wrong, right? Not only do you get back the initial amount of capital you've put into the trade, but also it allows you to reassess the next opportunity. Right? To reassess the next opportunity. Because when you do get stopped out, in this case, you're going to get 80% of your capital back. However much you put in that trade, you're going to get 80% back. If your stop is 20%. If your stop is 30%, you're going to get back 70%. That's the protection. Right? So it's not like make or break, give me back 100 or lose 100, unless that's your plan. All right. So second shift is officially here. Flag breaks will be what I'll look for here. We'll continue to slide at the downside. Amazon falling off a cliff, headed towards that 250, 256 territory. Test that 257. Apple is starting to slide as well. Apple fell back below that PMH. Apple is a potential candidate for Shockwave. Meta went, Tesla went to the downside as well. All right, so nice trades. Nice trades, but on the other side of being patient. On the other side of being patient, on the other side of being calculated and waiting. All right, so if you have Shockwave, you still can navigate these conditions. You still can navigate these conditions because you don't take a trade here. You take a trade there, you get stopped out, you take that same trade here. It works out. and you're done for the day. Right? If you trade multiple tickers, right, by all means, then you can find some other tickers that work in your favor. So now the big thing is flag watch, compression break watch. So everything made a move to the downside, and now any relief pop that comes into play, if all the index continue to sell off, they will start to catch a nice little push lower. Apple, look at this nosedive on Apple. Notice, I was looking to take Apple where, guys? Here. But I was looking for that entry. There's no entry, no trade. But if you're taking the opening range blindly, okay, if you don't get stopped out here, if you don't stop out there or here, right, you are going to get dragged all the way to the other side of the planet. Okay, you're going to get dragged all the way to the other side. So Apple is now back below that daily open. So Apple can possibly come into play if it wants to continue to drop. All right, if you're waiting for that 50-50, I mean, this is beyond the 50-50. Right, so no buyers are interested there. So as long as it stays below PML, and as long as it stays below here, there's a good chance that we can get into the lows of the day. Okay, and that segue would be, that segue into the lows of the day would be, either you can do the retrace reject, or you can do the momentum setup, which is the shockwave to the downside, to capture this appreciation there. This little runway here. Okay. Good. Yeah, I can imagine. Apple dropping all day so far. Yeah, so just pumped all the way to the upside, now dropped all the way to the downside. So by no means is the action here clean, guys. Okay, still very choppy. That sounds like me, but my head is still in the game. Thanks, coach. Absolutely. So sometimes I have a tendency to do that, guys, and you're always learning. Keep that in mind. But just know when you get stopped out, okay, it's not the worst thing in the world. You're getting a chunk of your capital back. All right, so if you put $5,000 into the trade, okay, if your stop is 20%, you're getting $4,000 back. All right, so it's not the worst thing in the world. So it's okay to be wrong. You don't want to be wrong for long. See profit, take profit. Don't be wrong for long. Service now did bounce initially, nothing there. Just very muted market, guys. Not a lot of catalysts, not a lot of news, nothing really to really base anything off of. Again, guys, make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. Books and profits and puts, good. Especially if Spurs have a dynasty type championship run. I mean, look at the transition, right? So now, of course, the older players in the NBA, they're starting to kind of fade, and now they have a new player that just came right in time. Right in time. Right on time. Amazing game definitely can be the go in the future. Exit from SPY. Greatest centers, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's 7'5", 7'4". I mean, it's almost like he's made in a lab. Seven seven. That's ridiculous. So anything above 7 is just, I mean, how often do you see a 7-footer just in everyday life? You don't see 7-footers. All right. So I would even go as far as to say not a lot of people have seen 7-footers in their lifetime. Right, just in everyday life. Not at a basketball game, but just in everyday life. You're just a 7-footer walking around. And what's impressive is his mobility. Usually, guys that are that big, they're a little uncoordinated, and they're slow, and because they're not fully used to their full structure. Whenever you see bigger guys that came into the league, Yao was pretty nimble, but some of the other guys, some of the other taller guys, they barely can dribble the ball. Just imagine if you're 7'5", by the time you dribble the ball, it hits the ground and comes back up. There's a lot of space between you and your hand, right? So that's a slow dribble. So to have handles at 7 feet is completely different than having handles at 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Right? So your handles as a taller player, right, has to be even better. It just can't be the regular handles that the guards have. Right? Just imagine the distance from their hand to the ground is shorter. Chop, 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 100%. Chop, chop, chop. See if this can lead to another nice little setup back to the downside. We'll be there for it. Only thing is, I just zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. What are some of the scenarios we laid out today, guys, in the pre-market prep? Folks on YouTube, make sure to join us for pre-market prep. Join our community to access our pre-market stream. One of the scenarios was push into here, and then one of two things can take place when we're there. All right, everything is about scenarios, right? You have to list out the scenarios, and then see if that scenario playing out, there's a likelihood of that particular thing playing out, and align yourself with that idea. Right, so now we're at this critical area, which is a bounce zone. If we start to get above that 733.41, basically I reclaim that daily downside breaker. All right, so it's going to come down to, do we go retrace reject off prior day's lows? Okay. Or do we reclaim it and start to work back into this area? So you have to use all your computation power here. Making the right decision there. All right, so this is the path that they're taking, the bulls. So if this can structurally break, then it can support that slide back lower. Okay. Again, guys, make sure to like the video. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. We've been a little light on the likes past few days. We have over close to 200 people joining us this morning. If you're a first-time viewer, let us know where you're joining from. Okay, so poll question for today. Since there's no poll in the Google Meet, so there's no poll on YouTube, you can just put the number, right, the range. How many trades do you take per day? 0 to 3, 3 to 9, 15, 10 to 15, or 15 plus trades per day. All right, how many trades do you take per day is the question for the day. So far, the poll is 65% of you take 0 to 3 trades per day. If that's your sweet spot, right, that means you have to look for quality over quantity. All right. So I try to stay. I've been on the high end because I have a little bit of those individual names mixed in the rotation. But I try to stay between that 3 to 5. Sometimes I go to 6. Right. But recently I've been in that 4 to 6 territory. If I'm trading an individual name, just if it's just specifically SPY. If it's just specifically SPY, you can live with 0 to 3. You can even go as far as 5, but you don't need to take too many. Beyond 5, there's too many mistakes you can make. We touched on this last week, but the more you trade, the more likely you are to make mistakes. It's not one of those things where you get better as you do it, right? Because it's a game of probability. All right, so if it works in your favor a few times, take it and run. Eventually, you will start to lose, and you will start to go through that psychological battle once again. So, 0 to 3, good. 3 to 4, as many as George takes. 3 to 8, okay. As long as you know your number, because there are some people that I had the privilege to work with who take 20 plus trades in a day, right? Even 30 plus trades in a day, but they're just scalping. So I'm not going to tell that person, hey, slow down, because that's their identity. That's what they like to do. There are that many opportunities available to take, but that's not for everybody. So you have to know which one works for you best. And whichever one that you do decide to however many trades you do decide to take, right? Make sure you're always taking efficiency into consideration. More is not more. The poll question we had the other day was, would you rather take 100%, 15% trade in 5 minutes or 100% trade over multiple hours? Close to 70% of the poll said that 15% trade in less than 5 minutes. So if that's your wheelhouse, you know if you go beyond that, nice retrace reject there. If you go beyond that, okay, you're in uncharted territories. Do you have Venmo? No, I don't have Venmo. No, I don't have Venmo. I think I have Cash. I used to have Cash App a while back. Get a nice retrace reject there. Let me actually check if I have Cash App. I haven't used it in many years. Yeah, I do have Cash App. Nice breakdown there. Yeah, YouTube will always get their cut, right? YouTube, the whole point of YouTube is, right? YouTube allows you to build an audience, allows you to use the platform. Just imagine, guys, the amount of power that we have nowadays, guys, with technology is. If 25 years ago, 30 years ago, if I wanted to have a program like this, right, you probably have to go on to radio. You have to pitch the idea to someone to get on TV. That's another. There's so many things you need to do to get to that point. All right, you gotta shake hands, kiss babies, play the game. So the opportunity that YouTube affords a lot of people is you can create your own platform, right? You can create your own platform, and of course, YouTube has to take their cut. They have to take their piece. But in return, if your content starts to resonate, they will push it because it's beneficial for the advertisers. Quick 20% on SPY. Beautiful job, Firefly. That was a nice little breakdown there. If you took that. Palantir for the puts brewing. Palantir for the puts. The good guy. I beat you to it. Let me see Palantir. Let's take a look at Palantir. So I can't wait till Shockwave 2.0, guys. It's going to be awesome after Memorial Day. Okay, after Memorial Day. And this week, guys, if you're sized down this week, that's a good call. Good call. All right, especially during long holiday weekends. Palantir looking at the 133s. Palantir has this key level right here, right, giving us a little bit of issues. Those are 22 contracts, so same thing. I want Palantir to, if it wants to ascend a little bit, let it ascend, and then come back below it. Have that weekly 50% retrace right there. So when you combine Shockwave along with these levels, all right, you basically have everything you need. If the market continues to slide to the downside, that's going to be great. That's going to drag Palantir. Down goes the down. See, Palantir can fall back below that level. Looking at the 133s on Palantir. Okay, see if we can fall back under it. As a short target to 134.37. Okay, I'll take Palantir right there. I'm in the Palantir puts. Risk is all the way up here. So a long time since I traded Palantir. I'm in the 133s. Okay. So your short target is, if it starts to go, guys, 134.37. If you want to scalp out of it, that's going to be your first short target. Now 5-minute candles inside. I'm going to spy here. We'll manage Palantir in the background. On the other screen, our Shockwavers can see it. Our strikers can see it, I should say. All right, so we do have a possible mean reversion brewing here. If stubborn buyers want to step in. Palantir, a win will be a close below 134.37, then we can start to rock and roll. Okay, we're headed towards that target area on Palantir, guys. All right, that 137.37 is going to be a critical area, because if we can't overcome that, we can't see buyers trying to pile in off that level. If they don't, that leads us into that lows of the day. So that break below that would be ideal. Down goes Meta to the downside. So full circle moment on Meta. Okay, full trip around the sun on Meta. My stop on Palantir is near that PMH. So I'll let this cook. Palantir's contracts are the 22s. So basically Friday's contracts. Okay. So I'll let that cook there. Meta's coming into play to the downside. Palantir, a little pricey. What I do like about the Palantir, the spreads are not too bad. All right, some of those contracts, some of those names that have those contracts that are $200, $300, $400 plus, their spreads, right, can get upwards of 10%, 15% of the actual cost of the contract. So mean reversion. If you're playing the mean reversion, all right, there you go. So we'll let Palantir ride. Palantir need that break below 137.30, 134.37. All right, so again, if you want to move your stop, if you want to unload, if you don't want to take it, if you want to watch it play out, by all means. But for it to get to double digits, all right, it needs to get below 137.37 and get to 134.37 and get into 134.26 area. Okay, there we go, Palantir. Okay, PML coming up on Palantir. Okay. You can see. So now I want Palantir to stay below that level. I want that support to be flipped into resistance as we pursue that PML. If you need to TP guys. All right, that's a nice scalp. Those contracts are a little more pricey. So that'd be a nice scalp if you took that. See if you can hold below this when it's all said and done. So my pursuit is, of course, I want to see if I can get this all the way to PML. PML at least, because my risk is all the way up there, right? If my risk is 20-25%, right, then my TP cannot be sub double digits. So I have to let this play out. That makes sense. In the meantime, I just want SPY to respect this 9, continue to no reversals back above 9. I want the Dow to get below PML. I want this to continue to grind lower. For Palantir to try to mount a reversal, let's take a look at the Palantir structure. What do we got here? Where are our highs? It can try. Okay, and that's roughly what Palantir is trying to do. All right, so my stop is all the way up here at conservative. So in this case, as long as we don't break out of this channel, which satisfies the criteria of my stop, I'm gonna ride Palantir to PML, that PML territory. 133.85. SPY still trending lower. We're trying to catch a nice little bid off that weekly downside breaker. $2,200 makes $60 is scary. 100%. I'll send you a DM, a devil dog. Okay, we're trying to see some buyers pick this thing back above those lows. All right, so the buyers need to defend this with their life, because if they can't defend this weekly downside breaker, look what awaits. There's this massive runway that the bears are salivating over. All right, so this is up for test. This is up for grabs. This is now rejection zone. Okay. Take a look at SPY. SPY again. Right, comes into those lows, grabs those lows. It's trying to go. SPY is trying to go. Right, it grabs that low. If you're playing mean reversion, okay, you can target this area here if you want to scalp it. Target these highs up here if you want to kind of sit through it. Be mindful of that 9 EMA right there if you want to use that as your initial target. So a multitude of things you can do. You can use as your targets. Multitude, amazing SPY calls. Okay. It's elevated for my 60. So if Palantir does, if these contracts do go into the money, then they'll jump into the 250s. All right, the only issue is now SPY is starting to bounce. Just going to lift everything up here. I haven't traded the mean reversion a lot past few weeks. What if we're going to be in this choppy kind of condition? The mean reversion is bread and butter. Nice bounce on Palantir. Palantir, massive bounce on Palantir. About to get stopped out on Palantir. Okay, my stop is right there, conservative, right? So the other area I wanted to see, I wanted to get brought to my attention is this break. I don't want this to break out. I can allow it to do this, but if it starts to do this, it works its way to my stop, and I get stopped out. All right, so even within your stop, if you're playing a bigger picture idea, you can have a couple of other things before your stop you're paying attention to. All right, we're right at that daily open. So my stop is very close to the VWAP and that PMH. It's right at that PMH to be exact. Right at that PMH. Book 30% on calls. Good, good, good. Anyone else take this first shift low sweep or first shift low grab? Down 10% on Palantir. Qs are looking to go to that daily downside breaker, 698.88. Qs gave up that 700. So if the Qs close below 700, that's a big win for the bears. Big win for the bears. SPY's trying to make a resurgence. Trying to get back above that daily downside breaker. Palantir daily open test, 135.37. Down about 10%. So that stop might be upwards of 15 to 26, 27%. So if these are real bulls, guys, they need to reclaim this daily downside breaker. If there's legitimate buying and not just dead cat bounce, they need to reclaim that daily downside breaker. Okay, because we got that brick wall trampoline type of scenario here. Since I have a horse in the race, which is Palantir, I would want, of course, I would want this. This would be favorable. That would be favorable. Okay. If we get back above that daily downside breaker, 733.39 decisively, and we continue to push. Don't need that anymore. We continue to push, then that can be signs. And there is some bulls, but the official clear would be reclaim a PML. Reclaiming that PML. Green hour in the 15 on SPY. Yep. So this was up for grabs. We're currently range bound, trampoline brick wall type of scenario. So for Palantir to push back into those lows, we need that rejection off that resistance. Even if you took that rejection off that resistance, all right, you can target that TP1. So pure scalp trades, guys. If you're a scalper, you're loving this kind of action. You're loving this kind of action. Okay. So if you're expansion, if you're on the side of expansion, expansion on the other side. To the upside, expansion on the other side. Otherwise, it's just this. Okay, until it's not. Okay, that's how quickly things change. Okay, it is what it is until it's not. It is what it is until it's not. Let's see if Palantir can come back below that that initial entry, 134.62. Moderate confidence on Palantir. Let's see what else is moving here. Meta is looking to come back into play for that breakdown. SPY already grabbed those lows, right? So I might have an appetite to grab some other lows, but if it really has an appetite, the highs are all the way up there. So put in the chat, do we break out here or do we break down? Do we break out or do we break down? Put out or down in the chat. Out or down in the chat. If you're still in the Palantir, you're still within your risk. Manage accordingly. Okay. We're going to need SPY to reject off of that. That can help Palantir, our case. Palantir update on the position down about 11%. Okay, it's trying to get a resurgence here. right? Really having a hard time at that daily open. 135.17. Down, down. All I know is the moment we lose 730, SPY good night. So critical moment here. Critical moment here for SPY. The bulls have a chance. If they want to push this thing higher, they need to break it here. If not, the pressure is going to be overwhelming and drive price lower. And look at the 15. If you take a look at the 15, 3 15-minute candles on the hourly, inside on the hour. Okay, inside on the hour, so not the ideal situation, but inside there, direction on the 15. So basically my stop on Palantir is getting very close to VWAP and very close to PMH. My stop is all the way up there. Vote of confidence is just stay below that daily open. Okay, SPY rejects there. All right. There's resistance doing its thing. Resistance being resisting. Resistance being resistance. UPO. Okay, stubborn buyers. So in this area, 0 DTEs, unless you're scalping those zeros, guys, they're going to get crushed. So Palantir does have a little time on it. Stopped out on Palantir 15%. Okay, good stop. Out. Gonna dump trap. Good use. I'm still in Palantir. SPY and QQQ right at VWAP. SPY to 725 by Friday. Then back up. That's very possible. We're starting to see the Dow's above VWAP. Ooh. Puts on IW brewing. Puts on IW brewing. While I babysit Palantir, these puts on IW do look appealing. See if I can get an entry. And those will be the last trade of the day. IW is already going. If you took IW, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's dumping like a beauty. If you took IW, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you took SPY, beautiful as well. Just letting resistance be resistance. You have a key level. You have the put trigger. See if that can lead the Palantir to continue to slide. Victory for Palantir would be a close below the 9 back to downside. So this is a case where there's no expansion, right? Until there's expansion, you want to apply UPO. Until proven otherwise, treat things for what they are. Until proven otherwise, treat things for what they are. Resistance as resistance, support as support. Until proven otherwise. Down go the Qs. So Qs below that 9 would be nice. Anyone catch IW right there? IW, that was nice. And look at this guy, stubborn bulls. Right, every time it drops, they pick it back up. So in that case, you're gonna have to have maybe time on your side. All right, you have to either have to have speed. Okay, speed meaning speed of execution. All right, you have to know how to execute very quickly on the side of scalping, or you have to have time on your side. Go further out. Beautiful job, real quiet on IW. Anyone else catch IWM? That was nice. VIX peaked back above 18. Okay, we're right here, guys. Bird's eye view. So these are the three most important levels that we discussed this morning, if you guys recall. The scenarios were essentially laid out on how we interact with these areas. Now we're starting to see buyers pick this thing back up. So we have major resistance there. Unless we get a breakout, this thing could try to start to work its way back to the downside for new lows of the day. So barring some kind of breakout and a push back the upside, that's what this whole debate is about. That's what this whole back and forth is about. Okay, Palantir had a volume imbalance. If we close above that view up on Palantir, I'll get stopped out. If we close above view up on Palantir, I'll get stopped out. So I'm not just using the view up now. That aligns beautifully with the so we did break out there, so it aligns beautifully with the risk there. So I'll wait for that close. If we get that close above here, then I got to tap out. Okay, I have to know when to tap. Down 15. Okay, I'll tap right there. All right, stopped out Palantir 16. Okay, SPY is starting to make a nice little push, so I got stopped out there. So a lot of stop outs today. So stopped out Palantir, stopped out on Amazon, stopped out on SPY. See if SPY wants to make a move here back the upside. Okay, we're still here. So a lot of stubborn buyers here. They're willing to pick it up. But is there enough of them to get above PMH? We're testing VWAP. Qs are testing VWAP as well. Qs testing VWAP. If I can get a hammer on the 5, that'd be nice. Shooter, I should say, shooter on the 5, that'd be nice. Shooters across the board. See if we get a nice little break back below that level. The stop on Palantir, I like that stop, right? So I just been getting stopped out today. The only trade that really worked in my favor was this one here. That breakdown on SPY. Down, IWM. Yeah, IWM, you had a nice little. Even that's just scalps, guys. If you're just scalping, if you're catching a couple of moves and calling it a day, that's probably the best thing to do. Just very, very grindy. If I can get a nice shooter there, if I can get simultaneous shooters, I'll shoot one more shot on SPY and be done. Okay, the 291, the 191, the not 191s, the 734s. Okay, 734 puts, and that'll be the last trade. Is 5-minute candle, has about 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So I want to see simultaneous breaks across the board. Shooters. So shooter on the Qs. Qs reject off that daily downside breaker. Same thing for SPY. If we can do that, I'll be there for it. And this is set to, if not, I'll just let it go, or just have to wait for a full mean reversion to get to the highs and then play the grab. Okay, that's just a 5-minute candle close. 5 for 5 possibly brewing. So I want this 5 for 5 to take place across the board. Rejection off that VWAP, rejection off that daily downside breaker. So I'm just looking for the ideal entry. So I'll try to be as patient as possible into a possible breakdown. Let that candle close. Stubborn buyers. Well, if you're playing the reclaim, you're waiting for that close above that level. If you're playing the reclaim, you're looking for the opposite. You want to see at least a reclaim of VWAP as well. So I'm looking to take this thing back lower. All right, but I'm looking for some kind of entry back below it. We're at VWAP. The Qs are back in prior day's range. The Qs are trying to hold above VWAP. Okay, SPY. Back within prior day's range. Still looking at the puts. If we fall back below that daily downside breaker, count me in, tag me in, coach, I'm in. If we continue to push, I'll let it go. My risk will be here. I want to see a break below this area, back below it. Put some pressure on that trend line support. Risk up there. So risk is defined. Now it's a matter of Qs. If the Qs can start to fade slightly, that would be great. So what really has the strength right now is the Qs. If the Qs can start to fade, Qs can start to gravitate back towards VWAP, that would be good. If they continue to have strength, they're trying to push into that daily open. The Qs are testing that daily open. To give you some context, SPY's daily open is all the way here. Okay. It's an 05 for 5. Qs testing daily open. If they reject off daily open, I'll send SPY to reject off VWAP, and that will possibly lead us to this breakdown here. This is what I'm looking. This is the opportunity I'm looking to take advantage of. All right, but it has to come into play. And what am I looking to sacrifice for that opportunity? This level here. No close above that. So keep a close eye on SPY on VWAP on SPY. See if we can go shoot her off of that level. And looking at the 734s here. I can go with 733s as well. I'll go with the 733s. Those are at the money. Get that nice little push lower. I wanted to come in as close as possible. That's 733.45. I wanted to get that push below it. All right, we're testing VWAP. So critical juncture here. 15-minute continues to push. Hourly is still inside. The Qs are testing that daily open. Trying to reclaim daily open. And the Dow is looking to bounce off daily open. So really interesting dynamic here. SPY is still below daily open. SPY 738 later. Bond yield is raising. If oil gets to 100, if it makes, we'll tank. Short rips. Short the rips, fellas. Looking to short it, but I need that entry. I need that exact entry. Down 18%, about to get stopped out on Broadcom. Okay, just respect your stop. If you're getting stopped out multiple times, guys, respect your stop. All right, so I got stopped out on SPY, got stopped out on Palantir, got stopped out on Amazon as well. Okay. We're starting to make some strides. Above VWAP. I'm not fully buying it, though. Not fully buying it. All right. Okay. If we fall back under this red zone, count me in. All right. I want the Qs to fall below VWAP again. SPY reject off that VWAP, but a minute and some change left. All right, trying to get that good entry so I don't have to sit through too much back and forth. So I want to be right or wrong in a very quick fashion rather than sitting in a position with these zeros. All right, if I can get that quick outcome, that'd be great. And now, guess what, guys? This level lines up with this trend line support. So that needs to break. That needs to break, and I'll be there for it. Looking at the 733s. Okay, I'll take the puts right there. If you took the puts, manage accordingly. There we go. Up 7, up 8, up 10. I want that break below this level, guys. All right, so I want that break below here. You can't treat it as support. If you need to take profits, proceed. We're testing that 9, get below that 9. There we go. Up 11. Up 13. Up 14. Up 15. I'm going to take a majority off right there at 15. Thank you very much. Down to runners. See if this thing can continue to push lower. So that's the perfect entry. Okay. We stocked that thing up 17. TP, guys. There are some aggressive buyers here. All right. There are some stubborn buyers in this area. All right. So up 20. So if we can break below here, we'll be good to go. If you need to TP at 20, 15, double digits, anything, guys, that's a great area to TP. Less than 1 minute of work, guys. Who took that? You see the difference between this entry and the other entries? We're talking about the entries earlier, right? Especially those entries have to be precise. So now this is the area where buyers can start to step in. So if we can slice and dice through that, I like how the Qs. This is a peekaboo above VWAP. Scale out up 26. Scale out at 26. All right. If you need to scale out, okay. Buyers can step up here. So again, keep that in mind. Scale out. Already hit 1.5 R. So I'm going to move my stop to here, to the initial entry. Who took that? Dollar signs in the chat, guys. If you scalp that, that's more than 20+%. All right, we walked through it systematically. We talked about that VWAP peekaboo that played out, bouncing off that 9. Buyers waiting right there. I don't want to close back above here. Runners close to break even. So if I can get a lower high here, we can possibly get a head and shoulder. Okay. That's what I'm looking to see if the runners can do that into this TP1. Who caught that? All right, so it's those scalps. So my trailing stop is right here. The Qs are starting to get picked back up. So again, taking TP, taking those profits is as good as it gets, right? We're not seeing that follow through. If you have those runners, okay, make sure you have them at close to break even after taking the majority off. See if this runner wants to run. Possible head and shoulder that can brew. If we break and close above this NC, all right, I'll close out. We're below that 9 on the 5 as well. Let's see if we can start to fade it here. Okay, continue to push lower. Now keep a close eye on IW as well. Who took that? Done for the day, break even. Palantir fell. My Palantir entry could have been better, but again, if you're in the trade, regardless of the entry, regardless how you got in, okay, you still have to abide by your stop. There we go. Up 34. See if we can stay below here. We're coming to TP1, guys. That's going to be 2R on SPY. All right. This 5-minute candle still has a little time on it. We fell below the 9 across the board. The Dow's falling off a cliff. There we go. Beautiful breakdown. Next area of contention is right there. So we do have some stubborn buyers, guys. So keep that in mind. These buyers don't go away. That's the trade of the day. Trade of the day. That 15 looking good. So we talked about this entry model earlier, right? Let it get above it and then fall back under it. Okay. Up 38. Okay, TP1 hit. TP1 hit. That's 2R. Continue to move your stop if you need to. If you're all out, congratulations. Five minutes still as we're trying to see some buyers picking up off those lows. All right, my NC will be here. Okay, so stop me out because this can be a nice breakdown. Up 44. There we go, guys. Back at the lows of the day, up 46. That's close to $70 per contract, guys. 47. But look how much we had to wait. Look how we had to time that entry. 48%. Coming to that weekly downside breaker, lows of the day, incoming. 52%. That's $71 per con. That's how we do it, guys. There we go. We timed that breakdown beautifully. 69%. Watch out for that double bottom. That's how we do it, guys. I'll close out right there at 60%. Okay, that was good. Okay, good. Trade of the day. SPY, I know I've been disloyal to SPY back and forth a few times, but SPY is going to always give you that opportunity, guys. Beautiful breakdown, multiple areas of confluence. We waited for this perfect entry, no drawdown, all said and done. We did see upwards of 69%. I closed out at 60. I've taken the majority off. Nice run on management. A pretty clean setup to the downside. All right, so on that note, guys, that'll be the last trade of the day. Multiple stops. Okay, stopped out on Palantir, so I could do a better job on cleaning up the entry a little bit. But once I'm in. If I decided to hold this Palantir, would probably be back at break even now, maybe a little bit of single digit green. But again, here's my stop, right? The way I'm going to define that stop is if I say my stop is aggressive all the way up there, it has to be predefined. I just can't make up the stop as I go to satisfy the potential or desired outcome of the trade. All right, define your stop first. Look to take advantage of the trade after and just let the probabilities play out. All right, so today's been a game of getting stopped out. This is a very, very nice trade here on SPY. Okay, but I want you to go back and rewind and watch the tape. Okay, I want you to see how we were waiting. Okay, didn't take it there. Didn't take it here. Didn't take it there. Didn't take it here. We waited for this thing to break above it and then get back below it. And synchronized selling took place, and we saw peekaboo on the cues as well. So what I mean by peekaboo, guys, a lot of the terminology is my own terminology. All right, is when we get above VWAP. Okay, we get above VWAP, we get the buyers excited, peak and boo, and push back lower. Especially for the cues, getting above VWAP and rejecting off that daily open was one of the things we were looking at as well, and that played out nicely into this structural breakdown. Multiple areas of confluence. But before we even took that, guys, where was our risk? Our risk was well defined. Okay, so either whether this played out to the downside, played out to a T, or stopped me out up there, okay, I can live with the results. Okay, when your risk is defined, okay, you can live with the results. The times where we get confused as traders is when we have undefined risk. All right, so Shockwave will allow you to do that. It will get you in the habit of defining your risk. Will bring these opportunities to the forefront. Okay, because you take the puts there at 11:20, 11:12. It literally says take puts there. Okay, it said take the puts there and take the puts here. Didn't say take the puts here. So that means you have to be okay with missing this. Let someone else get fed here. Okay? Your time to get fed will come up. You don't have to get fed every single time, every single minute. Okay? That's piggish activity. So when the bulls are getting fed, you can be a bull. When the bears are getting fed, you can be a bear. But if you try to get fed everywhere, right, you're not a bull, you're not a bear. Okay? And we know what happens to pigs. They get slaughtered. Sometimes you have to just let it go. All right, so that was a good setup there. I got 54% from that. Good. Anyone else, guys, strikers who took that? Beautiful job. You got peekaboo, guys, right? Get the buyers excited, and boom, drag them to the downside. Okay, so that'll be the last trade of the day. Let's recap some of the trades. Amazon. So again, I can live with the entry on Amazon. I can live with that entry, but that re-entry was available. If you took Amazon again, or if you held through it, you got compensated. Palantir. Okay, my entry was all the way down there, right? A little bit too low. Stop is there, gets stopped out, comes back into play. So if you double dip on Amazon and Palantir, you can recoup. If not, you just walk away with -1 or on both those exchanges. And then the last one was, of course, SPY. SPY took 3 trades on SPY actually. Okay, I'm gonna ramp up back on SPY and start to focus less on the other tickers, because SPY at the end of the day, guys, is all you need. So initial trade on SPY, stopped out, caught this to the downside, and then we caught this monster move to the downside as well. All right. So in this case, if you're looking to go short here, okay, you're looking to go short at support. The bears already got fed. Now the bulls are hungry. Okay. All right, guys. How are we doing on Google Meets? Anyone gets that on Google Meets, guys? Folks on YouTube, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. We're still kind of following this trampoline brick wall type of scenario. Trampoline brick wall type of scenario here. All right, let's get the likes up. Okay, we still only have 71 likes. We had over 700 people stop by. Okay. All right, so if you, I mean, 69, 70, close to 70%, depending on your entry. What more do we want? It gets past this area, gets past this area, gets past into here, and now it starts to bounce. All right, so that's the kind of day it's been. Okay, that's the kind of day it's been. I'll keep my profits today, Brother George. What, 1397. Beautiful job, Fishman, as always. So the game plan this morning for our strikers was very, or I would say the pep talk was basically, right, see profit, take profit. Right, you're going to see some profits if you're in those positions. There's a likelihood that you can get stopped out multiple times. You might have to re-engage, but don't confuse re-engagement with over trading. All right, those kind of things are what really make the difference. Okay, those kind of things make the difference. So even here, if you're able to extract 30, 40, 50, 60 plus in choppy conditions, right, what more can we ask for? What more can we ask the market to do for us? Beautiful job, Gary. Up 5% riding. PayPal comes into this area, double bottom, bounce off that daily upside, weekly downside breaker, starts to push. New shift. So this shift, we only took this trade. We took actually Palantir, stopped out, and we took SPY. Tesla. That retest on Tesla, give me 401. 401 even on Tesla for potential retrace reject. Until then, I might try to go inverse head and shoulder out of here. If SPY starts, if the Qs and SPY break out of this range to the upside, keep a close eye on Tesla for that inverse. Okay. Somewhat of an inverse / hybrid pattern here. Right, rounded bottom if you include this. But within that, so if I'm looking to go short on Tesla, if I'm looking for the big short or the best opportunity to go short, right, it's going to possibly be based on what takes place up here. We had that PML. Okay, that PML is in that area. That yearly open is right there as well. So Tesla is negative on the year. Okay. Because this level is going to be invalid in a few minutes. Shockwave is going to be out of commission after 12. All right, so if it's out of commission, guess what? SAT key levels. Same principles apply. Okay. So these are the only levels, I'd argue, I would say the most important levels that you need on your chart. And that's all automated. Okay. So intraday Tesla, maybe that inverse cup and handle type of situation. We got like a shoulder inverse. Tries to do that, but it's a complete mess. Okay. Now Palantir looking to retest, break down some more. Service now breakdown. Down goes Meta. Meta. Full circle moment on Meta. Round the full trip around the sun. So interestingly enough, Meta. Right, I was looking for Meta for that retest here, and then indexes started to slide. No trade there. So Meta breaks, goes to TP1. Meta breaks again, gets stopped out. Meta breaks, gets stopped out. Meta breaks, goes to TP1. Go close to TP1. So this is the kind of conditions you can anticipate. All right, so you have to be prepared. So moving forward, as the summer months approach, guys, it's very important that you make note of this. Make a mental note, write it down, whatever you need to do. During the summer months, okay, we're going to take it week by week. All right? We battle for the week, okay? But the way we approach the week, we have a shift-to-shift, day-to-day approach. We're fighting for the week. It's like when you're playing a game, right? When you're playing basketball, there's 4 quarters. You're playing the game to win, but you're not necessarily going to win the entire game without properly playing the quarters. So same thing for us. So this is what we're fighting for. Okay, for us, we have 5 games. Every week is 5 games. Series of 5 games. During the summer months, okay, when we have no catalyst, okay, we have no catalyst, no economic catalyst, and we're inside. Okay, inside daily and weekly, and weekly. Inside that daily and weekly range. Okay. So say this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Say so this is a random week in, let's say, July. All right, beginning of July, random week. If these are true, so from a technical standpoint, we're inside the range. We're inside the week. Okay, so we haven't taken out the weekly upside breaker, downside breaker. We haven't taken out that daily downside breaker, daily upside breaker. And we're inside intraday as well. Okay. Intraday, the 1 hour. H1. We can anticipate chop. All this will mean is chop. Okay, this will equal chop. So say everything is orange folder catalyst. We have yellow folder catalyst this day. Yellow folder this day. We're making a move to VWAP. Okay, yellow folder this day. Orange folder this day. But nothing too major. Yellow folder this day. And say on Friday we have a red folder. Or whenever the red folder is. All right? Leading up to that red folder, if these are true, we're inside on the daily, inside on the weekly, inside on the hourly, we're just range bound. All right? See profit, take profit. Scalps are the opportunities. You're going to get very, very frustrated trying to play the expansion setups. And those scalps, okay, when you think of the scalps, if they can work in your favor for 5 minutes, if a trade with zeros can work in your favor for 3 to 5 minutes, you can extract 20+%, 15+%. So that's going to be where your ability to enter trades, manage your positions, execute take profits, get stopped out properly, are going to really count. Most traders give up most of their profits they make in Q1 and in Q2 during summertime. And they have to recoup what they lost in the summertime and then try to make it in Q4. So defense, 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 defense. So during the summer months, if these things are true, as we're approaching summer, guys, all right, we're about to kick off summer, the official kickoff after Memorial Week. We're going to start to head towards that kind of territory. If we have no major red folded catalyst on that current day, or we're not coming from a catalyst the previous day, there's nothing for the market to digest. And we're technically range bound. All right. If you don't know how to trade the range, don't touch it. It might require you to sit out, set your alerts, and learn how to trade the range by tuning in every day, by asking questions, because that's going to be the biggest danger in these coming months. The summer months are very, very choppy, grindy, whipsaw, and it's going to really test your patience. All right, but if you're a student of the game and you're willing to put up with the test, if you can survive the summer months, right, you will know how to navigate every summer from this point on. Not guarantee that you're going to be green every single summer, but you will know what to expect. The biggest thing is, okay, most traders haven't traded a full season. You don't have a full cycle. All right, it's like when college athletes turn pro, right? They hit something called the rookie wall. Or they're not used to the 82-game season. They're not used to the 17-game season in the NFL. They're not used to that pace. So at some point, the middle of the season, they hit a wall. Right? And believe it or not, it's a mental wall. Same thing with trading as well, guys. Okay, there's a mental wall that you're going to eventually hit if you haven't seen this before. So if you've seen it, if you've played 5 seasons, 4 seasons, 10 seasons, right, and you've traded this diligently, you have a better idea on how to pace yourself. How to pace yourself. You have a better idea on how to properly size during the seasons, as opposed to someone who's a rookie who is going full blast. Okay, we're quickly approaching on day 100, guys. We're quickly approaching day 100. Okay. So we're playing if you're playing the mean reversion, keep a close eye on that PML rejection. We're quickly approaching day 100. All right, so in 2026, okay, we've been live every single day for 100 days. 100 days. Okay, at minimum 2 hours a day, sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours. So now 100, okay, times 3 times 4. Okay, that's anywhere between 300 to 600 hours. Of in-game experience you're getting. So utilize it. Okay, there are a lot of things you can learn. Even if you're not taking the trades, there's a lot of things you can learn vicariously through the things I'm doing. And you can apply it to yourself. Okay? So, for the upcoming season, that summer stretch, all right, we're going to navigate this together. I look forward to it. For the ones who I had the privilege to navigate through last year. All right, you guys know what to expect. You have a better idea this time around than you did last time around, because we were saying the same thing last time. All right, we said, hey, you're going to look back on this experience and you're going to leverage it. So nice double top in that area. Do we break back below it and start to head back towards this target here? We shall see. I'm done for the day. Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla. So if market starts to slide, more than likely Tesla. The only thing is, if with the entries, right? Best practice with entries is if you have your entries near some kind of key level. Right? So unless you're playing a structural breakdown, a continued move, or some kind of pattern, right? If you have your entries as close as possible to the key level, win, lose, or draw, you give yourself the best chance. So let's take a look at the Tesla VWAP here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, close, possible. So if you're a pattern trader, right, you like to trade patterns, you have this marked out. All right, so for me, the order sequence is this. All right, so there's order for me. First is price. Next is levels. Okay, add that, key levels. The levels have to be key, not just any level. Okay, price, levels, and levels give us zones. Okay, and then after that, I can go to patterns. I can go to EMA, VWAP. Okay, VWAP. All right. But these three are key. So now if you pair these three, with these two, and it makes a really, really high confluence. All right, so now if you have this, you see that target level, that target one, that is a level. So if you have target one here, you have this channel coming up here, you have the VWAP there. All right, so now the only thing, if I was looking to go short here, the only thing I'm looking for here is, where's my risk going to be? Is my risk unlimited? No, it has to be defined. So maybe that daily downside break, am I okay with a $2 risk? Is it going to be just a structural risk? I'm going to use this channel, right? And where's my target going to be? A good idea. Just as for reference. So now in this case, I have a level there. I have VWAP here. I have this channel here. So what I would look for is, okay, I want the price to continue to drive towards that area. Drive towards this area and give me that, satisfy one of the entry criteria that I may have laid out for this type of setup. And then now you just let it play out. If it gets above it, continues to push, you're wrong. You get stopped out. If it goes below it, you get rewarded for your effort. Okay, to do all this, to define this, you get compensated. If you don't, if you get stopped out, that's the cost of doing business. That's the cost of having the opportunity. If that makes sense. Okay. So it is midday. We're approaching midday, guys. SPYs is hugging that. You can see here, VWAP, boom, peekaboo, push a little lower, double top out VWAP. But buyers are very, very stubborn. They're not going to go down without a fight. Everything that's being sold off is getting matched back up. They're matching it. So sellers are having a hard time pushing this lower because every time it gets into some relative lows, they drive it back up. All right, they bring it back up. Okay. Sports analogy. Which one? I use sports analogies all the time. Any kind of analogy because it makes things relatable, guys. So if you have some understanding of something else in a different domain, put it into trading terms. All right, it will make trading more digestible to you. Right, the most commonly people know at a base level is sports. $730 at 730, if that can come into play, yeah, that is a major level. 730. We'll definitely see some kind of contention there. So I have a major level here. So we have second shift highs. Okay. We have PML. Let's go to the 15 real quick. Look at this. We spent 15, 30, 45, 1. 15, 30, 45, 1. Almost 2 hours in this area here. So buyers are trying to build a base. They're trying to build a base off that area. And then now we're starting to see this nice little channel. Is this channel a bearish or bullish channel? Is this channel a bearish or bullish channel? Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Is this channel bearish or a bullish channel? The one right here, the one that started on Friday. From Fridays highs, Fridays lows, Mondays highs, Mondays lows, Tuesdays highs, Tuesdays lows. Is this channel bullish or bearish? Based on how you answer that, then you can start to identify some key areas to potentially capitalize off some opportunities. So this is a bearish channel. Why is it a bearish channel? Are we going, generally, are we going up or are we going down? Is this channel, if this was a road, is this road leading us up or is it leading us down? Is leading us down. Okay, just from a visual standpoint, just at the simplest level. Now, how do we make sense of this from a structural trend standpoint? Okay, so this is a bearish channel. Why? Because we're making a series. The first thing you need to look at is, where's the lows? Where's the highs? Where's the next high? Where's the next low? And when you start to see there's lower lows and lower highs, you start to answer that question. So now if I want to be bullish in a bearish channel, okay, more than likely I'm going to have to take the calls off a support territory or a reaction off of that support of that channel, right, in pursuit of something else. So say if we get a nice little bounce here, if there's enough momentum off of here, all right, I can take advantage of that momentum to the midpoint of the channel or maybe the top of that channel. And that's going to depend on the time horizon of that particular trade to play out. Because if you have the wrong contracts, you're going to play this, you don't have enough time. So this is the road price is traveling in until proven otherwise. Okay, until proven otherwise, this is the way we're going. So what that means is if we're going to make a push into ATH, all right, you want to set your alert on this top of this resistance here. Any kind of push back into Friday's gap down, okay, we're going to have to address this here. So you're going to have your alert at this particular level here. If you're a breakout trader, you just want to kind of passively watch it, right? You don't trade every single day, but you want to catch big moves. All right, set your alert right here. Set your alert at the bottom of that channel as well. When price gets in that area, you do your due diligence. What's going on? Market context. Right, you want to get that clear break, and then that gives you the opportunity. Okay, so that's the path we're currently traveling, and that's our first bearish channel we've seen in quite a while. We had one right here, very short, very brief. How many days, guys? One. And look at this. This was Friday. This was Monday. And Tuesday we went. But we had a catalyst here. So in a higher time frame bullish run, you want to look for bearish channels. Right? You want to look for the opposite thing. Think of it like this. If the bigger picture is bullish, On the smaller picture, if you're a trend trader, you're going to look for bearish points. Okay, and you have those bearish points to get back in alignment with the bigger picture move. Same thing is true the other way. Okay, did we go for round 2 here? Whether it breaks, whether it doesn't, there's nothing for me to do here. I'm just merely a spectator, so it looks like it wants to go again. Right, to go again. If you did take that, just scalp it. Right, don't expect everything to play out the exact same way. Treat it as a separate trade. Again, guys, make sure to like the video. Let's get the likes up. It's almost 12 o'clock here. We'll look to wrap it up here shortly. We'll go over how to join the community. We'll go over the special Memorial Day sale that we do have across our entire site. Right, if you want to join our community, if you want to get our latest indicator, all right, our 2.0 version, this indicator will allow you to catch moves like this. We'll bring those ideas to your table. We have a nice little journal down here, so it automates a lot of those things, so you can focus on the execution, you can focus on the entry, okay, and you can focus on the management of the position rather than all the technicals. Because as I come in, guys, I can delete all the drawings. Okay, I don't have to have any drawings. All my levels are there for me. Okay, all the levels are there. Okay, all the levels are there. So if we do a replay of today, let's see how today played out. Quick replay. Let me take off the VWAP. Okay, so we open up today. So let's recap the day. We open up today. Boom. We gap down to open things up. All right, so we gap down to open things up. As we gap down, the first thing we were discussing, all right, this morning, of course, we already went over our game plan. We discussed what kind of conditions we can anticipate until proven otherwise. We come into PML. We say, hey, PML, we can see some buyers that are looking to take this off PML. Just be mindful of all those breaks. Comes in, we see buyers step in. We continue to wait. Shockwave says wait. Shockwave does flash, nothing confirmed. You get the break, right? This thing where it shows you the break, you can turn that off. But be mindful, the break is not the entry. It's just letting you know that it's breaking. All right, let me show you where you do that. He says show break signal, show retest signal. You can take that off. But your entry signal is based on what you pick. Okay, and I did make an improvement, more improvements to the dashboard. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I'll show you what the full dashboard looks like. Don't need the trade assist. Okay. This is the key level dashboard. If you need the key levels, that's there for you. You can take it off until you get used to understanding those key levels. Okay. Boom. So before it was 8 variables. Been selling options in retirement account. Doing great. Got back into scalps. Beautiful job, Jason. Look at that. 92% puts. 24%. Beautiful, beautiful job, Jason. And kudos to you for going out, getting the information. Continue to empower yourself. Right. Good, good, good. Continue to update us on your journey. All right, so we open up. All right, this is what the dashboard looks like. Full dashboard. All right, we open up. We come into this area. We break below that daily downside breaker. All right, no trade yet. Continues to go. And then here we go. So we get the first trade comes in. Right, this trade comes in at what time? Right before 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we do have home sales data coming in. So this is the trade that I did take. I did take this trade, right? I sat through home sales, right? I wanted to see if I can get a nice little compression break to the upside. If home sales was a red folder, I would not sit through that. So I took my chances, all right, with the orange folder. I wanted to see if I can get that break. I'm in this position here. What do I do here? Like, what did it say? Oh, let's rewind here. Let's rewind real quick. Okay, so in this case, we're here. So now we have enough fuel off that daily downside break or yesterday's lows to drive us back above that pre-market low. So we're still in that gap down formation. We gap down. We have not filled that gap down at all. And then now we continue to push. Let me just put this on 3x speed. Let's kind of zoom by. So look what the indicator says. All right, it says this is your entry. This is your risk. I get to pick the risk. Stop out. So what do I do? Okay, if I'm going to trade this system, if it tells me that I'm stopped based on what I selected, I get stopped out. If it comes back into play, I can reassess. If it's there, I can re-engage. It's better to do that than to go beyond and violate your rules. In the event that you have a wider stop, this conservative, if you have a wider stop, all you need to do is this. Okay, if your stop is wider, you have to adjust it. You go here, you get to pick. You go aggressive. If you have a wider stop, you have to have a wider TP. You do that. So then now you would not get stopped out there. Your stop out is here. But guess what? Your TP is 4. Your risk is 2. Your TP is 4. Right? It's equivalent to 2 to 1. Right? But it's just wider. Okay? But that's not my plan. All right? My plan is conservative. My plan is conservative. My plan is 1 TP and possible R. So, again, that's the plan. That's what I selected. It says what? It says stop out, get out. What do? I get out. Stopped out. And then in the meantime, there's nothing to do. Nothing to do. You wait, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait. Okay, now puts come into play. Puts come into play. There's a signal right there. If you take it on the break, you can scalp out. If you're waiting for that retrace reject, if you're waiting for some kind of entry, you're waiting and your stop is there. Let's see how that plays out. Okay. And then we take that breakdown to the downside. Okay. Goes to TP1. Goes all the way down there. Okay. Now this already went 2R. So if you took this trade, by definition, based on this entry, based on that entry, by definition, you should be up. You're minus 1R there, minus plus 2R here, and some change. But if you decided not to close your trade there, right, you're not letting the probabilities play in your favor anymore. Okay, so now you took 2 trades already. You're looking for the next one. Wait, nothing, wait, nothing. Okay, can you take a trade here on your own strength? Okay, sure. You can do whatever you like. But did Shockwave say take a trade there? No. Based on the criteria you set, does not take a trade there. If you want to on your own, you can. Okay. Okay, it goes. Comes back into play. Nothing. And then this is where we start to look at it again. All right. Boom. So now it says take it here. You can actually take it there, right? But you have to sit through a little bit of drawdown. Almost got stopped out. And if you wait for that break below it, let it give you the signal and break below that level, you'll have the textbook entry. You'll have the clean entry, minimal drawdown, kind of like we did in real time there. And you pair it with your technical due diligence. A little bit of that, some synchronized selling. Okay, and you can see at that particular time, if you just zoom back here. Okay, let's just see what it looked like. Okay, you got a bearish lean, and it continues to lean towards the downside. Okay, and then now it goes to TP. So here, puts there, puts here, stopped out there. If you decide to hold on to this trade, right, you're going to get stopped out for 1R, 2R, 3R, 4R, okay? And then there's 2R, 6R, close to 7R down. And then at that point, you can't get upset that you missed this here because you're no longer trading the system. So it's very, very important to buy into the system. And as you're buying into the system, start to make it yours. All right, make some refinements. So in this case, if I have a different entry model, I want to use. Okay, I want the engine to prioritize. Okay. Okay, I can go here. Okay, say enable signal cooldown means don't send me more than a certain amount of signals per minute. So don't send me a signal after 5 minutes. So when you send me one signal, just send me another one after 5 minutes. You can say show break signal. You can even say require VWAP bias. You can say require EMA bias. So this will only give you the top of the top of the top quality. Require ATR filter. So the ATR must exceed a certain limit. Require predefined opening range size. Require bias. Minimum bias percentage. So what percentage do you want the bias to be, what the score to be? On top of that, you want break only, retest, break hold, break a retest, or 2-bar hold, break and retest. Say if we just say break only. Okay, the most aggressive entry. Okay, take this off. What does it give us? Take the cool down off. So the break will give you this. The break will give you everything. We'll give you this, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. We'll have a maximum of three signals per day, so you have to adjust that. Okay, so what I like by default is the 2-bar hold. And look for the retest or the hold based off of that. I'm using the entry signal as further confirmation. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, to right, signal cooldown. Here. Okay. And that's what we've seen up to date. If we take a look at Amazon, let's take a look at what happened on Amazon. So I think this is a good exercise to do it after we take the trades, guys, so you can see. So in this case, there's another trade that we took. All right, Amazon. Why do I like Amazon? A few reasons. Market was showing some weakness. I liked Amazon below that weekly downside break or last week's lows. So it's directional. Can you take this on your own strength? Yes, you can. Retrace, reject off weekly downside breaker. Sure, you can. That is a setup. Starts to go. We wait for the expansion off of that. Range is set. We start to break. Right, so I didn't take the puts there. I took the puts right here. Right here. Right here. So my entry there was just basically on the retest without closure. It starts to go. Right. Comes back to break even a little bit of green and eventually, but again, I'm looking for that push into the lows of the day. Or into the target one, scale out or target one, and eventually goes there, gets stopped out. All right. If your risk was all the way up here, aggressive risk, you can possibly sit through that. And then we said, hey, you know what? If it comes back into play, Amazon double dip can present opportunity. Double dip just means after you get stopped out, there's a chance for you to re-engage. And one thing that's very important, guys, if you get stopped out for, say you get stopped out for 30, let's just say this. So you get stopped out for 40. All right. Just for some reason, you get stopped out for 40. On the next trade, this 40 should not be your target, because you don't know what it can give you. You're treating this trade separately than this one. Because if you try to recover exactly what you lost, more than likely, if you are in green, if it is a scalp, if it's a scale out, you're going to be so fixated on recovering this, you're going to be blindsided and discount everything else. Comes back into play. Okay, then boom. If you double dip, what happened as well? That structural breakdown into that break as well. Okay, you double dip, you get rewarded. Okay. That's what happened. And Palantir. Palantir, same thing. Took the puts here. Very similar entry to Amazon here. All right, took the puts there, and then eventually stopped out. Now I took the puts on this one right here. This is where I got the puts on this candle. And then went all the way there, stopped out, reloads, pushes back lower. Okay, and of course, SPY, where did it SPY? Messy action, guys. Oh, is Commander-in-Chief talking today? I have a problem. I cannot to keep trade long enough to make good money and sell it fast, but if I'm losing, I still keep it. Yeah, that's the psychological. That's a psychological hurdle, right? So that you're gonna face as a trader, right? That's a psychological hurdle I've faced before as well. Is we love to hang on to losers and get scared with the winners, right? I faced that before as well. It took a long time to really, the way I was able to wrap my mind around it is just asking myself why, right? Because there was a point where I was very comfortable in drawdown, right? If I'm down 40, 50, 60%, there's a certain level of comfort that, hey, you know what? Yeah, it is what it is, right? When you're in the beginning stages. But anytime I'm up 30, 40, 50, 10, 15, right, you're more nervous winning than you are losing. Right, so there's something underlying that needs to be addressed. And it goes beyond the technicals. All right, and that can be some elements of self-sabotage as well. Right, trading can go very, very deep. Right, it can get very, very deep when you start to really unpack the layers. Right, so when you address those things, right, it brings it to your attention. You want to start to get to the root cause. What's the root cause? And it starts by simply asking why. Not asking the market why, but asking yourself why. And having enough self-awareness to be able to ask yourself why and give yourself an adequate answer. And if you don't have the answer, you have to dig a little deeper. All right, so. All right, and that has to do with a lot of underlying things that trading is bringing to the surface. And the cool thing is, you have an opportunity to address it, because in no other way, that particular underlying thing has been trapped in a cage, but there subconsciously. So you have the opportunity to address some of the things that are hidden behind other things that you don't naturally get to address, because trading brought it to the forefront. Because everything else, right, in society gives that particular vulnerability the ability to mask itself or to hide. But with the charts, they cannot hide. You can't hide your fear. You can't hide your greed. right? It just comes to the surface. Right, so that's perfectly normal. Max. Always claps my cheeks. Yeah. So it's truly a journey, guys. It's truly a journey. And where do my shift lines go? Okay, need my shift lines. All right, so let me just delete all the drawings. All right, so again, the whole point is for you to do the. All right, don't turn this into an art project. Have random drawings everywhere. All right. Because the main things you want to have the main things there. So you can see we came and grabbed these highs here, started to dip to the downside. The mean reversions, okay, grab these lows down there. And a nice significant grab of these highs up here between here and there. Outside of that, guys, we're moving sideways. Moving sideways. Okay. Bearish. What EMAs do you use? So you can use the standard EMAs, the 9, the 20, the 30, the 9, the 20, 50, 100, 200. Everyone's familiar with that. And if you do a little bit of EMA math, you know that the 50, the 50-ish, the 45, the 50-ish, between 45 and 55 is the 9 on the 5 on the converted to the 1. Right, but the ones that I like, a little bit adjusted, are the ones that come with the indicator. Okay, and especially when I'm on the 1 minute, I like these ones. 8, 21, 34, 55. Because I know that 55 is very close to that 9 on the 5. That 9 on the 5 is very close to that 55. All right, Shockwave hours officially closed. Your stop loss should be mental, hard stop, not algo stop. Yep, you can use that as well. Start to win, you hold winners longer. I struggle with that at times. Yep. The main thing is just treat it as business. As you just think of yourself as a contractor. All right, try to put it into terms where it feels like you're not trading. Think of yourself as a contractor. You're contracted to basically do a job. Your job is, someone calls you up, your job is to find these different things on the chart, to allocate some money for them, pretend the money's not yours, and then to make sure you get paid when you do that. All right, think of it just like in the terms of you're doing a job. Right? What happens is sometimes we think of trading as an activity that exists on its own, in isolation. Right? It is in isolation, but we can't treat it like that. We have to treat it the same way we treat everything else. If we treat it in isolation, we'll start to do things differently there in trading and do things differently at work. All right, your job, you're a contractor, you showed up, you have a gig between 9:30, 11:30. Your task is use your ability to find areas on the chart where the direction can be in your favor for 3 to 5 minutes. And when it's all said and done, try to have more than you came in with. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, don't lose everything. All right, so when you put into simple terms, just like that, just trying to rephrase it and reframe it, sometimes it helps. Okay, you're just a contractor. All right, you're a hired gun. That's it. Okay, you're a hired gun. Get the job done. Use your skills to find different areas of opportunity. I'd be a broke contract, doing everything for free. That would be nice, right? Free electrician, free plumbing, free HVAC, just giving out service, just riding around the truck for free. All right, so just putting it into those terms sometimes helps. Okay, we're coming to that PMH territory. Give us a sports analogy. Just chopping around here. We're coming to PMH, PML, I should say, pre-market low. We'll do the end of the stream poll here. Good thing I don't run an HVAC company. Let's get the likes up on YouTube, guys. If you have any chart requests, put your chart requests in the chat. And we'll go over how to join the community here and what we got going on for Memorial Day. Here in about 9 minutes. If we get to 150 likes before that, guys, we'll do a giveaway. So the big thing, of course, is we have the Shockwave 2.0 coming out. Shockwave 2.0 coming out. After Memorial Day. All right, so we finally have a nice break. 3-day break, guys. During that break, take some time. Reset, recalibrate, because that summer stretch is coming up. Okay, that summer stretch is coming up. We're going to hit our... The cool thing is we might be at episode 100 exactly on Friday. Right? Yeah, so episode 100. Tomorrow's 98. That's Wednesday. 99 Thursday. Yeah, 100. Episode 100 leads right into Memorial Day long weekend. That's actually a nice way to kick it off. All right, so 100 days in. Out of the 100 days, we have 252 days. Out of the 100, we're almost halfway there. The goal is, God willing, to be live every single day for 252 days. Full market coverage. All right, to navigate these markets together. Whatever they throw at us, whatever takes place. Because now these videos, guys, they become historical archives. You can't find... It's like if you can pull up a stream from 2008 when the market was crashing. Right? You can look at the charts after the fact, but there's no tangible thing you can visually see. Right? If you go back to our archives, you can visually see with your own eyes, all right, how the market was acting during the tariffs. When we had that 40% push, 40% range in one day. We capture that. Right? So there's historical archive in which you can go back and say, this is what worked at this time. And that's what we're building together, on top of building the community, of course. Right? We have this living body of information that you can always refer back to. Right? Unless you traded 2008, I wasn't traded back then. Unless you traded 2008 and you were in the trenches, you're not going to understand. You can look at all the charts. You can look at what kind of drop took place. You can read all the articles, but unless you were in the trenches, all right, you have no idea how it was. So this is my attempt at that as well. So as we navigate this together, so the big thing we had to face last year was tariffs. So we started the stream with smack dab in the middle of tariffs. So if you were there back then, you know exactly what it was like. I can't put it into words. So this year what happened? Okay, on the verge of World War III. So if you just started to join past few days, past few weeks, right, you can't really understand what took place during that 2-week period. How we made those lows, how long it took us to make those lows, and how we made a parabolic push off those lows to where we are now. You can look at all the charts you want, right, but you're not going to really understand the story. Think of a candlestick, right, as basically a tombstone. It tells you what happened at this particular time. This candle lived from this point to this point. I got this high, I got this low. So unless you were paying attention to the action in real time and watched it when it was alive, all right, you're not really understanding what took place. That's why if you don't know how to properly backtest, right, you can fall in love with backtesting and you see things work out in backtesting, but they don't work out in real time. All right, because you're just looking at, it's just a graveyard of candles. Right, they're no longer there. They're no longer alive. You can't talk to them. As opposed to this candle here, the one we're staring at right now. It's alive. It's moving. We can see what's taking place at this very current moment from the lens of the 1 minute. Exxon. Nice push on Exxon. Okay, there we go. So if you took Exxon via Shockwave, scale out there, stopped out there, current trade working out nicely. Retested that PMH in that daily open, nice little key zone. Good, good, good. Apple, resurgence on Apple. So Apple, if you took that retrace reject on Apple off this area into the lows, again, just refuses to go any lower. Apple did look a little bearish, bullish. I was looking to go take Apple to the upside, waiting for confirmation. No clear confirmation, no trade. All right, so Apple, just a zig and a zag and just running out of steam. If you're looking for reclaim on Apple, back above that PMH. If you're looking for retrace reject, come into this territory, reject off it, head back towards 296.98, 295.72. Tesla. Nice little structural break on Tesla. Didn't lead it all the way to those lows. So now what we need here is, as everything is just kind of near the lows of the day, just kind of hanging out, we just need a news catalyst. We just need some kind of tweet. We need a tweet. We need something. So no shenanigans candle yet, just a bunch of chop. Yesterday's shenanigans candle. Let's just go back. One of our traders, our great traders, took advantage of it. I believe it was Doctor. Yeah, Doctor took advantage of this here. All right, I looked at the chart on my phone, and I just hear a bunch of alerts. Sweep with that low, just boom, goes. Right. It was like 300%, 300, 400% on this one candle. All right, but what happened here, guys? Is this reasonable? You tell me, guys. Is this reasonable? Is this a catalyst comes in? There's a news catalyst at the time we sweep these lows. Not any other time, but conveniently, all right, here. So is there a way for you to be in this, if you were in this, and then this came in? Sometimes you get lucky. Right? Sometimes you need a little bit of luck in your favor. Right? But even if you took this as a mean grab those lows for a mean reversion, right? Say this shenanigans candle doesn't come into play. If you take it into these highs, that's a legit scalp. And where does it go to? It goes into these highs here. Okay, it literally grabs these highs. Grabs those highs, very sneaky, and pulls back lower. And basically goes to the midpoint. All right, very close to the midpoint. Bounce off the midpoint, gets below, reclaims the midpoint, and goes to the highs of the day. Or close to, not exactly the highs of the day, just kind of just fades. Or highs of the past few hours. Okay. Apple is starting to go. See, Apple came and swept these lows. After sweeping those lows, pushing to the upside. If Apple wants to start going, if it legitimately wants to make a move, it needs to get above PMH decisively, get above that 270, 297.76. Okay, and then it kind of clears the runway. Until then, right, it has some, if you're an Apple off that daily open into there, you can maybe have some runners. But if you're just entering Apple there, just keep in mind that is resistance until proven otherwise. MU starting to wake up. Look at this, MU puts. If you're scalping, again, you can extract $10 at $9 out of MU. If you don't take profits, you get stopped out. Now MU is starting to go back the other side. MU is above that weekly downside breaker. So it's reclaiming prior week's lows. So last week's lows, it reclaimed and got back above it. So if you just close your eyes for a second and think of that weekly candle, we broke below that weekly candle. Now we're starting to wick back above that weekly candle. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions before we look to wrap up? I'm going to get a quick coffee refill here, guys, and then we'll go over how to join the community, what we got going on for Memorial Day, how to get access, how to get your hands on Shockwave, starter pack discount, joining our community, all the trials and all the codes. In the meantime, let's let CNBC carry the show for a little bit. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, let it not be on commercial. Slow grind. Grind. I thought that was Sean Payton. So we're back in previous day's range. So if you're on high alert for engulfing count on the daily, set your alerts at 7:37:40. If you're on 3 up, watch. Let the bulls do the heavy lifting and do that. If they can reclaim that, then engulfing candle on the daily is a possibility. Qs, okay, starting to trend to the upside. Qs leading the way. IW continues to push. IW continues to push. Who's looking forward to Shockwave 2.0? I'm looking forward to it. So I'm looking to release the key level indicator as well. Okay, so Shockwave after Memorial Day key level indicator. Look out for it during summer. Maybe to kick off June, and that'll be part of the key level indicator will be part of your plan. All right, so for those of you who are members, guys, this will be part of your plan. For those of you who are not members, it will be for sale. Okay, key level indicator gives you the key levels you need. And if you want to get an understanding of these key levels, go to my ebook and read the ebook. Okay, so I'll package this indicator with the ebook. But if you're a member of our community, you have access to it. Okay, that is to the SAT key level indicator. And I want more and more people to catch on to these key levels. We're at that daily open. So we're back to where we started. Break even on the day. So neutral. Sellers dropped it. Buyers picked it up those lows. And now it's a tie game. It's a very tie game. It's a very close game. This game is very similar to the game that we saw play out in OKC and the Spurs. Very close game. Absolutely real quiet. Good. Appreciate the little nuggets, man. I've been trading for 5 years on and off and have lost 150K in the market. Gonna take it slowly from here to get back to profitability. Absolutely take it little by little. I mean, you have a good understanding. I would say you have a Harvard level education on the things to do, the things not to do. So your tuition is definitely paid. And now it's a matter of just committing to the process and just really leveraging all the lessons. If you really want to do this long time, right, just leveraging all the lessons you learned for that tuition payment. And especially in this environment, guys, even if you do go to Harvard, there's no guarantees that you're going to get. I was reading a stat not too long ago. All right, the college grad unemployment rate. Okay. So some numbers are saying that that's quickly catching up to the high school graduate unemployment rate. When I was growing up, they would always used to show us a stat. All right, it was like a stat that they would show us. Is if you finish high school, you make like on average this much money a year. If you finish college, over your lifetime you make this much money a year. All right, XYZ. All right, because they want to funnel everyone into the colleges. I understand. Now I understand. Okay. But there are people that are paying 150, 200, 250 for a college level education. Plus 4 years. Okay, and still walking around looking for a position. So was that trade-off worth it? So use that same thing with trading, guys. Right? Trading it's informal. The education is not formal. So if you're really trying to commit to the process and you've lost, right? I know it's the way your brain categorizes it is losing is bad. Don't trade again. So you're afraid to trade, right? You have to try to frame that differently. I know it's not easy losing 50, 100, 150, 200, whatever your number is. If you're really committed to this long term, right, you're going to have to take those losses as your tuition payment and take it from there and say, have I really graduated? Have I really graduated Risk Management 101? Or is there more work I need to do? And more work you need to do means you continuously do the same mistakes over and over again at the same scale. I'm not saying those mistakes don't come back, guys. I'm not saying you're not going to lose anymore. But it's not going to be at the same scale. Is when you lose, you know how to lose. Right? When you lose, you don't lose everything. All right, so same kind of approach. And if you can think of it from that approach and just think of it as, hey, you know what, you're just getting started, you're just getting out there, quote unquote, into the real world as a trader, using that college analogy, you'll be well on your way. All right, so, but you have some things, you have a high level of education, 150K of tuition on what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what your weak spots are, what your strong spots are, when to trade, when not to trade. It's just a matter of just leveraging that now. Nice reclaim that daily open. We're starting to push the upside across the fives on SPY, Qs, the Dow, and IW. My biggest loss was 700K. Wow, 700K. On a particular trade or overall? I was doing HVAC back in the day. Everybody said you won't make money with your hands to get into computers, and now 100%. The trades are okay. Work the trades and trade the trade. That's the new learn to trade and learn to trade. That's the new motto. Learn to trade. If you want to survive, learn to trade and learn to trade. That would be my advice for younger folks coming up. Yeah, HVAC, a lot of those trades, you can do a lot of different, right? Especially if you have the entrepreneurial thinking, you can do a lot of things with that skill set. I mean, it was funneling. Just imagine, guys, you have a university, all right? And you're making, the amount of tuition you can charge is uncapped. Every year, there's people just funneling, the school system is funneling everyone into your institution. Right? The traditional path is you do 4 years, and that's not for everybody. And people who don't want to go down that path are pressured to go down that path. But that's free money, because if you just think of it like this is how you know it's the gig is up from my perspective. If you go to the bank, okay, say I go to the bank tomorrow. I'm 18 years old. All right, I say, bank, I have a business idea. Can I borrow 100K? Can I borrow 100K for your term? What's the bank going to say? Kick rocks. That's what the bank is going to say. Okay. But if I go to that same bank or that same lender and I get approved to university, which there's no guarantee I'm going to graduate, but their loan is guaranteed. Guess what? Take the 100K. You need more? You need 150? You need 250? Whatever you need, we got you. Whatever you need, we'll take care of it. Take 250. So if you can't see the difference between these two, right? This is what's going on. All right, so everybody's getting funneled this way. So by the time they come out, they're already in the hole. So when you're a trader, right, I would say all traders start out in the hole. If you were doing something else, you'd start out in the hole anyways. If you started a business, you start in the hole. If you went to university, unless you got some kind of scholarship, you start in the hole. There's very few things you can start unless you were given that platform or unless you were given that by someone else, where you start off at break even. Everything you start in the hole. Right? Because you got to take from somewhere, give from somewhere, do all these different things, you start in the hole. So no different in trading. Right, so the hack would be, I would say community colleges would be the best route. Right, there's no point, unless you know exactly what you're doing. I mean, how many 18-year-olds know exactly what they're going to be doing? Very few. Learn some kind of skill. All right, 2 years, learn a skill you can apply right away. That's what I would suggest. Unless you're dead set on knowing what you want to do, and that's not for everybody. Some people do know what they want to do at that particular time, and some don't. But everyone doesn't need to be funneled down this road, right? And that's more apparent today. So the only thing you can really do, that's why trading is so powerful. Okay, when you can make it work, when you start in the hole, you start to course correct, you start to learn, you start to treat it as a business, you start to do all these different things and start putting the pieces together. That's the great equalizer. Eventually it will become the great equalizer. I was doing HVAC. Okay, it was good money. I'd like to take option calls. Nvidia earnings tomorrow. So if you think we can bounce off of this with you when you take those further data contracts, right? Gap ups and gap downs, you can't really factor that in. All right. But if you can get it off these lows, and you're confident that we can have some positive numbers from Nvidia, if you can define your risk, it won't be a bad idea. But if you're looking to take something late day, like a multi-day trade, I'd probably say wait until after 3 p.m. because you don't want to sit in the position if you're not looking to take any profit. Right, and if you're looking to hold it for multiple days, unless it's ripping and running, unless you're up already. So let the premium get crushed a little bit, let it get a little cheaper, and then pick it up. That's what I would probably say about that. 738 could be, that would require us to basically Nvidia do its thing. Nvidia has to go A++. That's what can take us all the way up there to the 740s, 738s. Okay. All right, let me just take a quick coffee break, refill the coffee. I'll be right back. Let's take a listen to our friends at CNBC. If you have any questions, put your questions in the chat. If you have any chart requests, put that in the chat as well. We'll cover those. We'll go over our call to action to join the community, and we'll look to wrap up the stream. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, back. Here we go, SPY. SPY back above that daily open, continues to push. Everything getting picked up off those lows. Stubborn buyers take this thing back up above that PML, back above that daily open, and now we're headed all the way back to this territory up here, which is that daily 50% retrace. Look at the Qs, nice clean chart in the Qs. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 minutes of buying, followed by 5 minutes selling, then another 5 minutes of buying. Same thing with SPY as it continues to push. Going into first shift highs. What a push. What a push. That happened to me in 2021, but not. Look at that scale. I was at 55K and got greedy. I'm in the red. Take one on B option for 15,000%, which made the pain go away. Yeah, 15,000% won't make any pain go away. Look at this 5 on SPY. Look at that 5 on SPY. Headed towards first shift highs. Right, so this back and forth, right? Long time. Brick wall trampoline, brick wall trampoline, brick wall trampoline. Finally get that breakout. Okay, finally get that breakout. Now we're starting to go. Only took forever and a day. Okay. Do we have any strat traders in the chat? If you're a strat trader, put a one in the chat. Was that your one trade, Michael? What a trade. Google Meets needs to be able to put the emojis on the chat. So Google Meets needs that update. All right, emoji responses. Google, if you're listening, on Google Meets. I think they just want market share. They don't want to dominate that space. Look at these 5s, guys. Look how many 5s in a row. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. We're going on 50. We're going on 50. Coming to this territory, start to bounce. We're coming back into the highs of the day. So for us to go engulfing candle on the daily, we would need to get above that 740, 140. 740, 140 is that number. $740, $140. Make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys, and get the likes up. Yeah, that's interesting, right? All those names taking a hit. Meta. Okay, Tesla. Above that 400 critical level. Meta starting to bounce off those lows. Tesla. starting to go. Apple. Get a nice break on Apple. Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft kind of doing its own thing. MU. Okay, MU continues to push. AVGO. Still below that monthly open. Looking to reclaim that daily downside breaker. Intel. Okay, nice break on Intel. Look at this path. I literally took this channel all the way to the highs of the day. That's a pretty impressive recovery. So TSM. So there are stubborn buyers, guys. TSM's chart looks identical to Intel's chart. AMD looks very similar to Intel's chart, but not to the same extent. Didn't go to highs of the day. Netflix falling off a cliff. What else is moving? Amazon, nice breakdown. Amazon was nice. Google trying to bounce off those lows, bounce off that monthly upside breaker. Nice test of that monthly upside breaker on Google. So last month's highs, nice bounce right there. Oracle, range bound. Shopify, see if Shopify can course correct, get back above PML. That was a nice winner yesterday. McDonald's was another name to watch yesterday. These are some older names. Palantir, triple bottom off that PML. ServiceNow, good night. Apple, nice break on Apple and Tesla. Tesla's starting to go as well. So Tesla has a big test here. And that test is going to be that yearly open. Yearly open and that pre-market low. So Tesla is at the same price. It's very close to the same price it was last year. The beginning of the year. Okay, beginning of the year, first day of the year this year. To now, Tesla is technically negative, but looking to go positive. So if you want to buy Tesla at the very price it was at the very beginning, first trading day of the year, first minute of 2026, all right, 402.68. Okay. $402.68. Okay, so we're at first shift highs. Retest 734.75. We have 50% retrace of the daily coming up. Smart. What about before when all the other companies were doing positive, but yet we're falling in price? Trump added $50 million to Mag 7 stock last quarter. Loading on Apple, Google, and Tesla. Yeah, they're heavily allocated in crypto and into the stock. Everyone is in this game, guys. The game that we're playing every day, the biggest of the biggest players are playing the same game. The only difference is time horizon. So if you're playing the lower time frame game day trading, make sure you're also playing the higher time frame game investing. If you're playing the long term, the higher time frame game investing, okay, learn the skill to play the lower time frame game. If you got something in between that, you can do some swing trading. So literally with just one vehicle, which is the market itself, you can do three different things. You can day trade, you can swing, and you can do long term. And these are three separate domains. All right, you can do three different things. You have to be able to distinguish the three really clearly, but it's very possible for you to do three things The long-term opportunities, do they come up every day? No. If you're dollar cost averaging, you're maybe buying bi-weekly, maybe buying monthly, maybe buying quarterly. You don't care what the price is. Long term, you'll still win, right? But you have to do it for a very long time. If you're picky on price, if you just have reserves, you wait for drops and you deploy, right? Those opportunities don't come every day. And start treating the 5% opportunities like the 10% opportunities. Start treating the 10% opportunities like 20% opportunities. Okay. As SPY continues to rip the upside, guys, SPY, after chopping around for some time here, starting to push the upside. Qs primarily led by the Qs. IW continues to push as well. All four of the indexes are on the same page. If you take a look at SPY and the 5, okay, there we go. What do we see here? A mess, back and forth. We finally get that break, and we never took a break. Okay, not a single 5-minute break since then. Not a 5-minute break. Just continue to push. So the buyers loaded this thing up off the lows. That weekly downside breaker. So what does that mean? This is last week's candle. Okay, so what happened was today we broke below last week's candle. We broke below it. Buyers said, you know what? We see this as a dip buy. They piled back in, and now we're starting to push above that weekly downside breaker, and we're starting to create a nice little wick on that weekly candle. Weekly candle still has some time left. We're not at the halfway mark, but still have some time left. But that's what's currently going on based on our interaction there. Based on our interaction there, that's what's taking place. Okay. So we're above first shift highs. We're above the highest point of the day. Okay, now we're in the jaws of that gap as well. In the jaws of that gap. Okay, we're at that close to that 50% retrace point. PMH is all the way at that 739.14. Okay, so this is a 50% retrace of that gap. So between that gap 50 and that daily 50, you have a nice 50-50 there. Okay. Any questions, guys, before we wrap it up? As always, thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully you found value. Make sure to like the video. We'll look to wrap it up here. Looks like SPY is making a push to the upside. If you're interested in joining our community, getting any of our indicators, any of our tools and resources, make sure to go to smartactiontrade.com. Smartactiontrade.com. I'm having a site-wide Memorial Day sale. The sale will end at the end of Memorial Day, of course. So for this entire week, that's available. The starter pack is available. The community is available. All right, the community is also, there's already a trial for the community. Use the code TRIAL30. You get 30% discount for your first month. If you want, you can use the Memorial Day code, which is never forget. Save 20% off the quarterly. Save 20% off the yearly. Save 20% off the indicator. All right, whether you're on quarterly, yearly, or lifetime. Save 20% off coaching. Save 20% off the entire site. But the special we have for this month, guys, is the starter pack. What is a starter pack? 12 months access to the community. Shockwave 15 1.0 2.0. The dashboard, all the updates, coaching call, and boot camp as well. All that come with this pack. Right, take advantage of it. If you're, you can use the code. Never forget. Code is never forget. Okay. Take 20% off. So you can get this for $7.97. All right, that is the same as getting the indicator. So if you're looking to buy the indicator, all right, you can get lifetime. Instead of getting lifetime, get the starter pack for $7.97, and you have access to the community. All right, so for 1 year, you're set. For 1 year, you're set. You have access, lifetime access to the indicator, any updates, and you have 1 year, 12-month access to the community. So you're not going to get recorded. You're not going to get billed yearly. So if you're looking to upgrade, if you're on monthly, if you're on upgrade to yearly, get the starter pack. Okay, that's all there for you to take advantage of. We have 2.0 coming out on the Tuesday from when Memorial Day wraps up. We'll come back on Tuesday. Market is closed on Monday. 2.0 will officially be rolled out, and the new price will be available. Lifetime will stay the same for 1.1 for 2.0, but we're going to have 1.0 and 2.0. They're going to diverge. All right, so lifetime you'll always have access to all the updates. All right, so the ones who did purchase via starter pack, okay, that's lifetime access to the indicator. You'll have access to 2.0. We're also going to be releasing our key level indicator. Okay, that's going to be coming up. That's going to be available in the community. Okay, if you're in the community, you have access to the key level indicator. So my strikers, if you're there, I did give you my word early this year. All right, the key level indicator, when it's available, it's going to be available part of your community bundle. All right, so I'll find a way to get that done logistically. Okay, and once you do have access to that, you'll have access to the key levels. If you want access to it separately, all right, you can purchase it. These give you the levels you're going to base your trades off of, and there will be a couple of versions off this as well. There'll be a couple of versions off this as well. I'm working on some back end things to see if we can give some signals off those levels based on some parameters that I want to set. So I am testing that to give you another setup to help you on those entry, exit, risk, reward type of trades. All right, to give you that approach. That's going to be brewing. That's not here yet, but just be on the lookout for that. But for next week, end of the month, key level indicator will be out. Shockwave 2.0 will be out on Tuesday. All the people who do have Shockwave 1.0, the only way to get it outside of the ones who got the quarterly plan is lifetime, and through the starter pack, which is lifetime, you will have access to 2.0. I have a list of all of you who do have access to it, so I'm automatically going to give you access to 2.0. I'm going to take your username from there, and then when 2.0 is released, I'm going to migrate your username to that one as well, so you have access to both of them. All right, so that's going to be awesome to end off the month of May and kick off the month of June. You'll have both those indicators along with the multi-ticker dashboard. So 3 indicators in one. All right. So again, everything is pinned in the chat. If you have any questions on YouTube, let me know, guys. If not, we'll look to wrap it up here. Where are we on the bear channel? We're at the getting close to the top. Almost. So one last little run left. If we break out of this channel, it's no longer a bearish channel. But if we reject in this territory between PMH and that resistance of that channel, then we're still in that channel. And look at that, guys. It's a lot of back and forth. Buyers pick this thing back up. And we're starting to see the action take place or to show itself later in the day. All right, so look how much patience it requires. All right, 10, 12, 25. Almost 2 full hours. Almost 2 full hours. Tesla target 1 hit. Good, good, good. Beautiful, beautiful job on Tesla. All right, any questions, guys? If not, we'll look to wrap it up here. As always, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys found value. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Tomorrow, let's try to get that 100 like threshold by 10:30. We will do the giveaway. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe if you're still in the trenches. All right, be careful. We're starting to push the upside. Don't try to catch the top. Just trade what's in front of you. If you're done for the day, stay clean, stay green. If you've been stopped at multiple times, continue to stay on the sidelines. We'll look to come back tomorrow and take advantage of the best opportunity. We'll do the end of the stream poll as well here in the community, and then we'll look to wrap up there as well. Any questions, guys? If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, and God bless each one of you.
deficit and a lot of debt. So I'm just curious what impact you think this level, Sam, has on stocks. We have a minor sell-off today, but so far nothing that looks like panic.
Well, you're absolutely right. When you go back to 1954, you see actually that the average 10-year yield was in the 5.5% area. So we're still very attractive relative even to that longer-term average. But it doesn't mean that investors are going to be happy with rate increases. Essentially, what we found is that in the 1 month after the Fed has raised rates from an easing cycle, the S&P declined an average of about 3%, falling in all observations going back to 1990 when Greenspan started being transparent with Fed funds changes. And you typically find all sectors underperforming, with the defensives holding up better than consumer discretionary and financials.
And so quickly, Sam, do you see anything in that pattern starting to emerge here now?
I think so, because we are getting a new Fed chair. We are seeing higher rates, and as Peter was mentioning, other aspects beyond inflation that could force the Fed chair's hand to be the next move to be higher.
Right. And now the market even pricing for that by the end of the year. For now, gentlemen, thanks. Appreciate it. It's certainly an area to keep an eye on. Sam Stovall and Peter Bookvar. Coming up, the one analyst on Wall Street holding a sell rating on NVIDIA. Those shares are trying to avoid a third straight day of losses after a record high, and they report earnings tomorrow afternoon. What would it take for him to change his mind? That's next. Plus, more on the sell-off in bonds globally. Will it open up any opportunities overseas? That's ahead on The Exchange.
This is The Exchange on CNBC. Tech Check is sponsored by Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Companies everywhere bought into AI. Problem is, nothing works together.
That was not me.
Only the ServiceNow AI platform breaks down the walls. It integrates anything, any workflow,
any data source. And with the AI Control Tower, we can finally manage all our AI.
The ServiceNow AI platform lets you connect and control everything to put AI to work for your people. Take a seat, Nick. On a chair.
Easiest if everybody just moves down one? No, okay.
The Economist has everything worth knowing. Some people read headlines, others read between them. Carry a lasting advantage with The Economist in your back pocket.
TimberTech looks so much like wood because we really study wood. That kind of nuance you just can't achieve without pushing the boundaries of what's possible technically. So as climate evolves, as wildfires become more of a concern, the ability to maintain the product in high moisture or high UV radiation environments, we're constantly working to be able to stay ahead of those needs of consumers even before they know they have them.
At Mod & Bow, we believe that making the perfect pair of jeans is an art. We apply the resin, then we hand scrape it, pin and tie it, wash it, and apply the finishing touches. Our signature Mod & Bow jeans have dynamic stretch to provide flexibility and a comfortable fit. And we handcraft every pair with a care and quality you can only get from a true family business. I'm Alejandro, founder at Mod & Bow, and making incredibly comfortable jeans is our passion.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine.
Well, she doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Even a term policy?
Even a term policy!
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800